Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome back to LSRTV's Friday night Rod Car Double Feature. We're next on the voice of sim racing. It is round 3 of season 6 for the iSuperSpeedway.com racing series, and getting set for the biggest race on the calendar. It is the iSuperSpeedway 500 on Live Sim Racing TV at iRacing Live, and we're happy to have you with us, and we welcome you to the virtual Daytona International Speedway. 124 laps and a whole lot of points on the line tonight as we work into the second points paying race on the season 6 calendar. iSuperSpeedway every Friday night on LSRTV. And as always, myself, Evan Pasoko, joined by Andy Kessler topside and LSRTV producer Cisco Scarmuza, getting us on the air this evening. Andy, I'm ready. We got a nice little teaser a little bit ago with the IROC season opener, and although this is round 3, and although this is the second points paying race, this is the start of the season. This is a race where you would rather win than take the points for second, and there are very few races in the season that you're willing to make that gamble for, because the champion in this series walks away with a nice bit of hardware, but so does tonight's winner.
Yeah, we can't forget how important also a win is on any given week. A win locks you in the chase, so whether it's round 1 or round 15 or round 8, the big win will get you into the chase. So, of course, these guys are fighting for it every single week, but why not start the season off with the first win of the season, get yourself locked in, and then you have no worries except go out and collect more checkered flags. So, a lot of things riding on this race here tonight, and why not for Daytona and the 500, and let's just get it done. I mean, I'm ready to go, and I know all these drivers have been anxious over the last couple of weeks with the shootout and with the duels last week to just get this thing going and get it underway.
Yeah, we've already had 3 winners this season. Ron Flagg took home the iSuperSpeedway shootout 2 weeks ago. That does not count as a win, but for Justin Anderson and Ryan Keese, the winners of the duels at Daytona from last Friday night, that very much so does. And that is a big step towards the championship. So what to look for the iSuperSpeedway 500? Tonight's race, 124 laps. Caution flags are on. Lucky Dog is off. One quick repair at a 70% fuel cell. For all of the competitors, every driver running in Duel 1 or Duel 2 of the iSuper Duel qualified races the week prior. Auto position drivers in the previous season points were placed in Duel 1. Even position drivers were placed in Duel number 2 at positions 1 through 30 on the grid tonight were filled from the top 15 finishers in each duel, 31st through 35th. From the fastest speeds not to qualify in on finishing position, and 36th through 40th based on prerequisites, which means that 10 drivers that were here last Friday don't make the cut. It is no doubt that this is the most coveted race on the calendar. There's tons of storylines. There's new teams, there's new drivers, and we'll get to all of that. But we're set to get Season 6 officially underway. So let's take a look trackside and rack them and stack them and take a look at our LSRTV starting grid for the 6th annual iSuperSpeedway 500. The number 24, Ryan Keese, winner in the duel. He'll start from pole position tonight. And Justin Anderson, winner of duel number 2, will start in second. Josh Hanner slated for a third place spot. 4th is Stefan Alessantine. 5th is Chris Bassini, Rodney Watford, Seth the Merchant, Sean Boundy, Derek Walker, and Casey Malone inside the top 10.
Chad Keene, Dana Osborne will make up row number 6. Dan Harrington and Luis Calderon will make up row number 7. 15th starting spot goes to Jeff Figlin, and Ray Rittenauer will start in the 16th spot. 17th, Glenn Hedrick, Daniel Ferguson 18th. 19th and 20th goes to Kent Connolly and Matt Bontempi.
Ryan Piling going to start 21st tonight, 22nd, Rod Flying. Jason Oatman's 23rd, Larry Camp 24th, Brandon Cruz Montsevice in 25th. 26th position, Josh Ball, Tad Granger in 27th. 28th, Jared Haggerty. 29th tonight, Remote Evans. And 30th is Christian Peterson.
William Roberts, Paul Servant, Dwayne Cooper, and Greg Hooks make up 31st through 34th. 35th is Dave Anderson. Frank Busilia will start 36th. 37th and 38th is Shane McEachin and Brandon Chaburko. 39th will go to Matt Quick. Corey Henry will be 40th, and James Pileski rounds out the 41-car field here tonight.
Frank Basilio was the inaugural iSuperSpeedway champion. Brandon Chiburko, the Season 2 champ. Ron Flag, Season 3. Season 4, Josh Ball. And most recently, Seth the Merchant, the 5th champion in 5 seasons. If you want to add your name to that list, it starts right now. We're happy to have you with us on LSRTV and iRacing Live. The pace car going to make the sharp left-hand turn down. Season 6 upon us. Green flag in the air. The Daytona 500 of the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series underway. The one that everybody wants. Lap 1 of 124 is now underway. Down to turn number 1 in this iSuperSpeedway 500 and the inside. The place to be, getting these guys up to full speed through 3rd, now into 4th gear, and down the Daytona super stretch already at 180 miles an hour. It is still Ryan Keese leading on the inside.
Yeah, outside line just didn't get going there on the restart, and then they all had opportunities to jump down to the bottom, and they did just that. The 77, though, he's going to stay on the outside, Justin Anderson, and he's going to have the 22 is Stephanie Lesney, give him some help. We talked to her last week after her dual race. She said the top lane was the place to be, so we'll keep an eye on that as things go on. And the first lap led here tonight goes to that 24, Ryan Keese, as the 1 of Chris Passini starting to make that outside line work as ahead to 1.
Oh, a little bit of contact between the 10 and the 1 to push it up on the inside was Josh Hanner. Passini, a little bit of a pinch on the inside lane. Nothing comes from that. Handling was a big topic of conversation in the IROC race, and we expect that to be a conversation pointer here tonight. Later on, though, in the runs. Early, there's plenty of ability for these guys to get creative and work some things. And we talk about the increased field size for what we saw earlier. Well, teammates going to be a big factor. Look at the 1, the 20, and the 7 as Keese pushes up a little bit that time off the corner. Those drivers on the outside of the racetrack all working together as a part of the Dark Horse organization. You could as well mention the Bernardi 8 machine, a part of that team, although not running with those 3 at the moment. But it is the 1, the 20, and the 7 to pull in the horse, so to speak, on the outside of the racetrack. Not making up any ground, though, on the inside. It is still Keese, and it is still Hanner. 1 and 3, but a run down the backstretch going to be the first challenge on the evening. Passini trying to get something to go. And even if he were to get cleared, though, I'm not convinced that he would drop down and leave his teammates. We talked about the unique qualifying aspect of this, Andy, and a lot of the IROC guys mentioned, well, I'm starting a little bit further back than I'm used to because it was due to that qualifying race. If you get you and 2 other teammates together on the start, I would imagine that's something that you don't want to break up.
No, you don't want to break that up, especially if you're those guys like you just talked about that are in the back. Something they're usually not. It wasn't a single lap qualifying effort. It was a race. So things happen during races. You end up losing some spots, and that dictates where you're going to start this race here tonight. So for those guys in the back, it's definitely all about patience, making your moves very precisely and getting the position when you can get it, not forcing the issue. One reset here tonight. They got to be careful and make sure they use it at the correct time. So for all these guys, like right now, as we see, the field's still just nobody really pushing the issue and trying any 3 wide action. Nothing real aggressive. We got tons and tons of time here. Still 120 laps left to go in this thing.
We talk about the endurance races on the season. Most of them in about, I'd say, 80 to 100 laps in total distance. There is no denying that 124 laps is a long race. We can talk about some of the longer races, the endurance format races, and say it's not that long. It's about a heat and a half, or an A main and a half, or 2 A mains. This is a long race at 124 laps. There's no denying that. There is a 70% fuel cell, as we mentioned as well. So if we do get a green flag nature, which as opposed to seeing a lot of yellows, which 5 laps in, we're looking pretty good. Still 2-1 and competitive, but everybody calm for the moment. We'll put 5 laps down. We still have 119 to go. Plenty of time for this race to be decided on the pit lane. There's no need to get physical and overly aggressive already. The lead pack, though, still about 20 cars deep. The top, it looks like actually now the top 15 at the start-finish line. It was the top 12 last time by. Top 15 within 0.8 of a second of each other. Still side by side for P1 and 3. The 24, the 1 battling for the top spot. Final step of the podium being dealt out amongst the 20 and the 10. Both of those drivers pushing the cars in front of them. A relatively smooth start to this one. Look at the one machine. Bobbles in the middle of the corner, and up high goes Chris Piscini. He'll slide out to that third lane, and adios. He's going backwards. Looked like a little bit of net code he caught there. Left side damage on Chris Piscini.
Yeah, first mistake of the night right there for Chris Piscini. Just pushed up, bobbled a little bit into the corner. Loses a lot of positions. Able to drop back in line now. He's going to be that third car in the outside lane as the outside lane actually starting to fall back a little bit. As you see the 9 up front, he goes out, he ducks out to the outside. Wofford looked like he was going to go with him, decides to drop down below and leave him out there to dry. So the 9 car, Chad Keene, now falling back. He'll fall back into the clutches of Derek Walker in that 20 machine on the top side. Top side's got some help. It's got some players up there. They're just a little further back right now. Got to get those things bunched back up here, and they'll do that here in the next lap or so. As you see, the 20 of Derek Walker now get up to Chad Keene's back bumper. They'll slowly start to make their run up to the front here into 1.
So we mentioned the names and really the numbers of the guys inside of this lead pack. We'll continue to follow them as at 9 at Chad Keene. The Navy machine working on the outside of the racetrack, a new paint scheme courtesy of Chris Piscini. 9, a sharp-looking Chevy to kick off the Season 6 campaign. Who is not in this lead draft? Well, Greg Hook's not a good start. He is 4 laps down after receiving a throughput fall to an unacceptable level. The one-time IROC champion is not going to make it through this one. If he gets back in, he'll be multiple laps down, and it would be quite an achievement to get back to the lead lap. There's a bunch of guys way off the pace. Rod Flag, Dan Harrington, Seth the Merchant, Jared Haggerty, almost a lap down already. DeMerchant and Haggerty, the 32 and the 23, elected to start from pit road. Puts them well behind. And then there's a couple of packs without, I'd say, 3 out. Contact for the race lead, the 10. Big contact in turns 1 and 2. And they're going to try to hang on. And they're running out of room, the 10, the 54. Around goes Josh Hanner. That is multiple cars involved. No caution thrown by the sim. May see one come down from the tower. So far, we're still green. It all started right at the front. 3 wide, things were calm. And we talk about pushing into quarter. Andy the 9 got a tap from the 20 on the bumper. Hooked him sideways. Everybody scattered. A lot of names up there. Basically, if you were in the middle or third lane, you got some piece of it.
Yeah, a lot of guys. Some rookies in there. Also, the 34, Sean Bounty was involved. Some damage on that car. The 88 of Kent Connolly looked like he was involved. So a lot of guys, a lot of them involved in that one here early on, and that really thinned out that front pack now. Only looks like about 5 cars now, and the caution does come out finally. Yeah.
Is the caution going to come from race control because the incident that did not automatically trigger a yellow flag did involve more than 3 drivers? So with that, we will slow things down at lap number 10. But a couple of guys get torn up and out. But again, for the most part, I like to feel like I'm safe if I'm on the inside lane. Not that it is really any safer, Andy, than the outside of the racetrack, but something about not having a wall next to me makes me feel a little bit better on these plate tracks. You rode on board with Sean Bounty in the 34, and he got a front row seat to that one when he got hit by 2 guys that came sliding down. It was the first 5 or 6 cars on the inside that got the brunt of that one.
Yeah, it does. And unfortunately for those guys, they're going to have to use their reset here rather early into this one. So for those guys, now it's going to be really treading on water now because they're going to have to really be careful. They got a lot of laps, a lot of miles left to run in this one. Cannot afford any other incidents here, or it'll be an early exit to the 500. So, yeah, a little bit of contact. And you know what? A lot of times, like you say, you feel safe up in the front of the pack, but it just didn't work out that way for these guys. And they end up with some damage and a big wreck there right in the front, battling for the lead.
And it always looks messy when no yellow comes out right away because everybody kind of scatters, gets on the brakes, and then, again, the yellow was not automatically triggered by the sim, which, surprisingly enough, not the first time we've seen that tonight, Andy. 2 incidents I can remember in the IROC race about an hour and a half ago probably could have been automatic yellows. Sim did not throw it. Sim did not throw the automatic yellow that time. However, the series rules under the Rod Car banner is that if there's an accident involving 3 or more drivers that does not automatically bring out a caution, they will manually throw it. So that was this yellow, And with that, first swing of pit stops at lap number 10, Ronnie Wofford, first driver in.
Yeah, like I say this week after week, and it's a great opportunity under caution to come down, get your 4 tires, get that thing packed of fuel, especially because they only run a 70% fuel load on these things, and you don't want to be those guys that are falling short a couple laps towards the end of the race. So take advantage of the opportunity you have to come down, get the 4 tires, get the fuel, and we'll see these guys get back out on track. Some guys will have their math all set up and figure they'll stay out, or they'll try something different and try a different strategy, 2 tires maybe. But for most of these guys, take advantage of it while you can. Get your 4 tires of fuel.
And Ronnie Wofford did just that, but he's going to lose a couple of spots off of the pit lane. Not everybody pulling that strategy. Stephanie Lessentine, Tad Granger, Glenn Hedrick, Josh Ball. Some of the names that take 2 tires to win the race off of the pit lane. Ray Rittenhour's number 87, I believe, drove through. So we would be looking for him and Frank Pilia, who sit 1 and 2 at the moment, to come down and get serviced unless they want to stay out there, which I get. And then you could also understand the confusion and the understanding, I guess, of somebody not pitting, because it is a 70% fuel cell. 10 laps, well, it doesn't feel like a lot. If you don't pit and we go green, you're going to be pitting 10 laps short. That could work out for you in the end. It could be no big deal, but it could hurt you and put you on a complete additional pit stop compared to some of the other guys. So while I look at lap 10 and I say, isn't that a little bit early? Do we really need 2 tires? Do we really need 4 tires? I think it is the smart conservative call for everybody that took them. And outside of 2 drivers, which is a fairly low number, a couple of guys took 2 tires, but I think for the most part, everybody saw that accident there early, and these guys weren't driving over their head either, Andy. It's not like we were going 3 and 4 wide and bouncing off each other. Just a little bit of contact, just like when we saw the scare in the opening 5 laps with Chris Pizzini. A little bit of net code, gets shuffled out of line, everybody kind of scatters and gets shuffled up, and in that one, just a little bit of contact that breaks everything loose. These guys have been very disciplined. We are just 13 laps in of 124, but I don't think the nature of this race is surprising to me at all. And because of the way that most people have been taking it easy, I feel like those 4 tires is the right call.
Yeah, it is. And but for other guys, like we look at the 48 of Josh Ball, who started on the grid in the 26th spot here tonight. A 2-tire stop for him was probably the right call. Get him the track position. So it's a mixed bag, and guys like Wofford, who was up front, the 4 tires is a good call for that team. It's all what's going to benefit your team at that moment, and obviously the fuel is going to benefit all these guys. So it's just a matter of tires, and we'll see how long this run will go. I mean, the longer it's going to go, the tighter the cars will get, the tighter they'll get off the corner. So for guys like Josh Ball, it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that, along with Frank Pilia, didn't even come down pit road. So we'll keep an eye on all those guys as this run continues on. They're probably, you're probably looking at probably about 30 to 35 laps for a fuel run with the 70% fuel. So, they're about halfway through that now. So that's the fuel strategy that we're going to have to keep an eye on for the guys that didn't pit.
Ray Rittenhour comes down to the pit lane. He posted Timmy Hill, if you tuned in on Tuesdays with the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series. Timmy Hill would always come down pit road, drive through, and then come down at the one to go. If you don't come down to pit lane when pit road opens, pit road is closed at the one to go. If you drive through, it is open. So he's going to come down, get his tires, get his fuel, and he'll get back to the back of the pack, and he'll be well off on fuel, and he'll be out of the chaos. Frank Pilia, who would have been the guy that I was expecting to do so, he'll go 36 to first, much like Josh Ball, who's gone 26 to second. It is a big gain for staying out. The 94 does want to stay out to the race lead. Also, one of the newer names to the series, Tad Granger, running right now in the number 4 spot, 27th to 4th. So a good call for him as well.
Yeah, like I said, those guys in the back of the pack, the track position's key. Obviously, we saw in the first caution, being up front doesn't immune you from an accident. You can get caught up in an accident. It doesn't matter where you are on the track. So the strategy wasn't to stay away from the chaos. You have a better opportunity, obviously, up there in the front. But a big key for those guys was just pretty much get the track position. Guys like Josh Ball, typically week after week, qualify in the top 10. So being in a 26 starting spot, not a comfortable spot for that 48, but he's right where he needs to be now up in the front.
And a pace car going to get to the wayside. First time will take an American Ethanol green flag off of a caution flag at Daytona. When the pace car hits pit road to the green flag drop, it's all in control of the leader. Of course, at a super speedway, you don't want to get too good of a jump. So to the go zone we enter, and green flag back in the air at a good jump by the 94. A little bit slow behind, though, by the 21 of Glenn Hedrick. The 7 going to drop in for the outside of the racetrack. To the inside goes Rodney Wofford. It is Josh Ball, the 48 LSRTV Chevrolet, putting up the fight. The push from behind, non-existent yet. Waiting for Granger to build up some momentum and they'll make a run at it down the back.
Yeah, it takes a little bit for that top side to get wound up, seeing that it is the longer way around the racetrack, but they always typically do get it going here down the back straightaway on the restart. That's exactly what you see right there is the 15, Todd Granger, giving a good push to series champ, former series champ, Josh Ball, who was looking to defend it last year, Evan. Came up just a bit short and got knocked out of that final 3 in the championship hunt, but then he came back, of course, to win the season finale. So Josh Ball on a mission to be a 2-time Cup Series champion and running up front right now. A little help from a rookie. And, of course, the 17 of Matt Bontempi and the 9 of Chad Keene on the top side. They're trying to hang on to it for now, but that bottom side with Frank Pilia hanging on to the lead off turn 2.
They hold it strong, and you talk about champions. Frank Pilia, the inaugural iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series champion. Back in Season 1, he'd like to get back to championship victory lane. Still a long way from home. This is a longer series than what we saw last season. There's new race formats, and there's a longer chase. So you got a little bit more work to do, but again, it starts tonight at 94. In front, no stranger to dominating races at Daytona. And a 21 to Glenn Hedrick, who came back onto the scene about halfway through Season 5. Good to see him once again up near the front and winning strong. And he'll jump to the outside of the racetrack and hop up in front of the 40 to Josh Ball. This is the way it works a lot. It's not the guy that builds up the momentum that gets to take the benefits of the run. It's the guy that jumps out in front of you. So just like that, Josh Ball becomes pusher. He'll go to the middle, though, not having any of it. And he'll kick Glenn Hedrick out 3 wide down the backstretch. And Ball resumes the race lead from that middle lane. And a 21 going to drop back a couple lengths.
That was kind of mean.
Yeah, we talked about guys not trying to make friends.
Yeah, right. Early on in the race, but Hedrick was able to get back in line somewhere around that 10th spot. So lucky for him, he didn't fall all the way back because they're 3 wide. A little further back, though, the 19, David Anderson. He's on the bottom side. He's got William Roberts Jr. to the middle. Casey Malone was on the outside. They're able to settle it out now and run 2 wide currently right now. Top 3, though, they've separated themselves right now from the pack. 3 veterans in the series, Josh Ball, Bucilia, and Wofford. Wofford, though, he's going to look to the outside with help from Bontempi.
Matt Bontempi, the name that was big in Season 3, making a return towards the end of Season 4. And again, we're getting to the point now where you have a lot of old veterans coming back, new talent entering the series. Almost 10 rookies going to be in the Season 6 class of drivers. Kelly Dahl going to make his first full-time run. So will Stephanie Lessentine. But returning, Andrew Berger, couple of rookies, and Joey Piccolella, Sean Bounty, Brandon Vonsevice, Logan Clampett, Louis Calderon, Paul Kashiba, and Mitchell Reeves. And we're going to be wrecking behind in turns number 1 and 2. Yellow flag is out. Matt Quick is torn up as he slides down the banking. And that was not where my eyes were, though. We were getting ready to talk about the 54, I think it was, getting shuffled out of line. William Roberts Jr., Andy, at a checkup behind them. Is going to be what catches the 89 machine as he goes around.
Yeah, that group of cars right in front of him just checked up going in the corner, something you're not expecting. Everybody just kind of accordion right into it. And Matt Quick had nowhere to go, and he slows up and just got ran over. No one's fault at all right there, just a matter of circumstances. Looks like the 57 of Louis Calderon actually got into the back of Matt Quick. So just some contact ahead of him and slowed everybody up, and they all smashed into each other. So trouble for those guys again. I think for Matt Quick, he's still got a reset, so it might help him out here early in this race. But a couple guys that were close to that we talked about earlier, Sean Bounty in the 34. He dodged a bullet right there after having to use his reset already after lap 10 accident.
And I want to reset, as a couple of the drivers mentioned. First off, they're happy to have that back because towards the latter end of 2015, there were no quick fixes available. One quick fix now available once again for these endurance races. Just because you get some damage doesn't necessarily mean either you're going to use that quick fix. Take a look at the 17 to Matt Bontempi. He got some back end damage in that incident. He's not going to come down pit road and use his quick fix to get the back bumper shaped up a little bit, because you'll drive out there with a car that sometimes is pretty beat up, a car that's not competitive, as long as you can stay with the draft. And then if you get a yellow with 20 or 30 to go, when it's go time and it doesn't matter at that point, then you'll take your quick fix so that you can go after it. But we've seen guys who don't implement that strategy, and again, sometimes you can't. We've seen a couple of guys get really torn up. But if you take your quick fix now, you're still looking at trying to get through 104 laps without getting any damage as your leaders come back down.
Yeah, leaders are going to come back down, and, you don't want to use it this early. I know all the guys, probably every single one of them, their plan was to save it as long as they could, second half of the race, and use it then. And looks like Wofford's going to beat everybody out of the racetrack. Maybe a fuel-only stop for him. Looks like the 48 maybe have taken just 2 tires on his stop also. Frank Pilia going to exit in the 3rd spot off of pit road.
So as they get back out, it will shuffle up the running order once again. It's lap 21 of 124 in Daytona, and out in front of the iSuperSpeedway 500 right now is the number $28 General Toyota of Shade McEachin. So as they pace for the second time, we'll take a yellow of our own and step away, and when we return, we'll take a look for the second American Ethanol restart on the night. You're watching the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series on LSRTV and iRacing Live. Plenty more still to come from the World Center of Racing when we return.
Grab your share of the over $1,200 purse in the Laura Lawson Domino's TYJ Daytona Speed Weeks now through February 20, 2016. We are raising money to help Laura battle cancer. 100% of all donations go directly to Laura's GoFundMe medical fund. All 43 drivers in the Laura Lawson Domino's TYJ Daytona 300 get paid. Mark your calendar. The 6 Race Your Way In qualifying races to be held the next 3 weekends, January 29th and 30th, February 5th and 6th, and February 12th and 13th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Password required. Are you the fastest and best at Daytona? Prove it as LSRTV broadcasts live the Daytona 300 Saturday, February 20th, 2016. Register and donate at Domino'sTYJRacing.com. Look for the green ribbon. $5 minimum donation required. Thank you for your help.
Drive the 81, yo, I drive the 88. Ricky Bobby.
And welcome back to the virtual Daytona International Speedway for LSRTV's coverage of the 6th annual iSuperSpeedway 500. Second points race on the season, third on the season 6 calendar, but the unofficial kickoff to a 6th battle for an iSuperSpeedway championship. And if you weren't with us just 1 week ago on a Friday night, you missed a hell of a night of racing for the iSuper Duel at Daytona. Justin Anderson won duel number 2. It gave him outside pole for tonight's race. Duel number 1 with Ryan Keese, it gave him pole position. Rod Flag as well has been to victory lane. He won the iSuper Shootout at Daytona. That does not count, however, towards the wins to make it into the championship. So if you win the 500 tonight, not only is that awesome, but that's a win to get yourself locked into the iSuper Chase. The top 10 runners going to make it into the championship, but much like in NASCAR, a win bumps you up. So right now, Justin Anderson, Ryan Keese sitting pretty, but there is plenty of racing. Still 12 races after tonight until we get to that iSuper Chase. So the Chase is still very far away, and we're much closer to last season's championship than we are to start talking about this one. Every single win from here on out is as important as this race. The trophy for this race, though, would say otherwise.
Yeah, there's a pretty big difference in the trophy, and the trophy's obviously something that these guys are all shooting for, and going for the championship is what it's all about, Evan, and every win gets you locked in. So all 41 of these guys who started this thing are looking forward to being themselves locked in.
The pace car going to get down once again, and we'll have 101 laps to go in Daytona, and contact the 28, a little bit slow on the gas. Shane McEachin scheduled to bring us back to the green flag inside of the front row. He got hit from behind, could be front end damage on the 48 of Josh Ball. It gives the outside the run to turn 1 and give the race lead to the 7 of Rodney Wofford.
Wofford going to take advantage of a miscue of Shane McEachin there on that restart. Frank Pilia now is going to take advantage of the outside lane. Matt Bontempi giving him a real good push. They get hooked up on the top side there, and look who else has made it up there. Third in line on the top side. It's a rookie, Sean Bounty.
Yeah, Bounty putting it to these guys behind the wheel of the number 34 machine. And to do your part, Chevrolet in a good spot. Started at P8 that he's running fairly consistency. A number that I like inside of the top 10, only 2 drivers started there. I'd say the average starting spot for the guys you're seeing right now, side by side up front, somewhere around 22nd or so. We got guys back from 37th. The race leader started in 6th. Rodney Wofford trying to hang on. McEachin turning for the better, though, after the poor restart. Got up to the outside of the racetrack. Got a push from Frank Pilia, and he is challenging for the lead. Coming off of turn number 2 down the Daytona super stretch. Advantage will swing back to the inside when they dive it back down to 3.
Yeah, it's such a I don't even know the correct word, but it's just back and forth, playing this game of who's going to get that lead, are you going to drop down once you get clear. Wofford's been doing it all night. He's dropping down. He doesn't want to stay up on that high side, at least not for now anyway. And, he's got an opportunity to be that front-running car on the bottom. He's going to drop down there and take it, and that's exactly what he did. And Shane McEachin says, well, let me go up and try it. So he jumped out in front of Frank Pilia, trying to get the push now off of turn number 2. That's where these guys on the top side make their ground up, this big back straightaway. This time by, though, Frank Pilia wasn't able to get up to his back bumper and really give him a shot. Wofford's still going to lead him into 3. He's got Josh Ball on his rear bumper.
And Josh Ball, again, we talked about the front-end damage on that car. Does it appear to be a big mechanical concern at the moment? But anytime you get front-end damage at a plate track, you always have to wonder, what is that doing to the front of the car as far as oil temp and radiator? Because those temps can go up. You can lose an engine very quickly. So although you're probably okay, the 48 machine has to remember to keep an eye on those gauges to see if anything is going on with the temps in that car. But so far, he's not backing out of it. Nobody is. The lead pack again, while everybody remains somewhat disciplined, they're still racing hard with 15 drivers with inside of 0.8 of a second of each other off the quarter. And I'd say the top 13 are still side by side. Great pack racing going on at 27.
Yeah, great pack racing, kind of a couple of little groups splitting up here, and you got like a little single car train after this front little pack of about 15 cars gets out of the way, and then they get back into another big jumble of cars. So it tends to happen. They'll get spread out a little bit. They'll get spread out more, though, if they stay green and get on the green flag pit stop cycles. That's always fun, waiting to see if anybody makes a mistake getting on pit road, and that usually will cost some guys a race if they can't do it. So we'll watch that as this goes on too. Shane McEachin, though, once he's got to that outside, hasn't really been able to do much with it, Evan. He hasn't been able to get hooked up just quite the right way or at the right time with Frank Musilia off of turn number 2. So they're really struggling to try to get himself back up to the lead. Wofford doing a great job, though. And it probably goes with a little bit of help there from that 48, who looks like he's ducking out of line to get some air to that crinkled nose. So the damage to the 48 may not affect him while he's behind the guy, but like you talked about with the damage to it, you got to really keep an eye on those temperatures with the oil and the water getting too hot when you're behind somebody like that. That's going to even cost you some major problems if you get that engine to blow up here early on in this one. A good run by that 21 though, Glenn Hedrick, after he got the track position off that first caution. He's been able to stay up inside that top 10 and do a real good job. And it's good to see that 21 running up front.
And tight off the corner is the 48 of Josh Ball. We're starting to see the cars move around more and more every time they come off of the corner as we begin to work onto the longest green flag stretch of the evening. 3 wide at the moment, the 98 Napa entry of Greg Hooks. Going to stay up as high as he can to the outside wall. Should it be a problem in the corner? Going to keep an eye to see if anybody gets tight, though, coming off the corner, because everybody goes all the way up to the fence. They'll tick the fence, actually, trying to stay out of the way. But that lead pack is able to squeeze on by on the inside. Again, Daytona, it's a big racetrack, not very wide, though, compared to Talladega. Every time you go 3 wide, especially with some lap traffic, with the big speed differential, things always get a little bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah, you got to hold your breath on instances like that and just hope nothing goes wrong. Everyone's able to hold their line and keep themselves in check right there. And that's one thing with how fast these guys are going and how close you are on the back bumper of somebody. Like if you look at Frank Musilia and Shane McEachin right now, Frank Musilia cannot see anything out the front windshield except that rear bumper and that rear spoiler of Shane McEachin. So when those guys come up on the lap traffic as we go on board right now with Frank Musilia and that 94 McDonald's machine, when you come up on lap traffic like that, sometimes it can actually startle you if you're not really ready for it. We're really starting to see these guys bounce around here on corner entry and exit right now. 3 wide action going on a little further back there off turn number 4. You got the 9 of Chad Keene on the outside.
Chad Keene on the outside, and to the outside up front. Josh Ball jumps out of line, pops it for the shade of McEachin. Not enough, though, in turn number 1 to be able to jump down and clear the 7 of Rodney Wofford, who he had been following for the last 5 laps or so. So now the 48 car, though, assumes the lead position on the outside line, and the cycle continues. And, you see guys moving up and down. There's not a whole lot of guys up here that don't have a lot of damage. The 17, the 28, the 21, the 10, just a couple of names out of the 19 of David Anderson. Not major damage, but back-end damage. Again, it is physical to bump draft. It's not an easy thing to do, and you're seeing the way all these cars are moving around. The 7 is bouncing a little bit at the front of the field. It doesn't take even a mistake on your part. You drift down a foot, somebody drifts up a foot, that's it. You're in a big accident. That is the hardest part of these 124-lap races, Andy, is to not variate from your line just that little bit once in 124 laps. That's about 248 opportunities to make a mistake.
Yeah, we don't like to talk about mistakes, though. We don't want these guys to... You know what? One of the things, you get as a driver, you get up in the beginning. Shane McEachin having some problems there. Way up high, 3 wide, a little action behind there. It looks like some cars having some handling issues here. And the late going here is still going 3 wide. William Roberts Jr. up in the middle there in that 54 machine. Another guy came into the league towards the end of the season last year, but getting his first full-time ride here this season. And wow, just amazing how much wiggle we're getting. And we got lap traffic now coming on the high side. That's going to slow up to 34. Sean Bounty, he's going to lose a lot of ground right there.
They're going to squeeze on by, and a lot of that 3 wide was guys up on a 3rd lane just sliding backwards. But we talked about the importance of taking 4 tires, and especially after just 10 laps at the beginning. I talked a little bit about the strategy involved with that. 4 tires now are looking like the right call because everybody is starting to move all over the racetrack and trying to hold them down. I know the 48 in specific pushed real tight a couple of times off the corner. For the outside, it's not as bad. It's a little bit more difficult for the guys on the inside of the racetrack. However, when you got somebody to your outside and you start pushing up, you're either A, going to hit them, or B, you got to let off and you're going to get hit from behind. So you always got to keep the car under control. That's why a couple of these guys will be kind of lifting the throttle and feathering it in and out of the corner to keep everything nice in line. And jumping out of line this time, the 21. I talked about the cycle continuing. Josh Ball tried it, didn't work, and now the 21 to Glenn Hendrick jumps out for the bottom. He goes to the outside as we're door banging for third with the 94 and the 19. But it is Hendrick putting up a fight at the start, finish on it, and a big push by your Season 1 champion, going to get the job done. New race leader at lap number 36, it is Glenn Hendrick in front.
Yeah, and he didn't waste any time to drop down in front of Rodney Wofford right there either. Gives Frank Pilia the opportunity now to maybe get up there. You'll see William Roberts Jr. A couple laps ago, he was mired back there in about the 13th, 14th spot. Made a couple great moves as they worked their way around the 10 of Josh Hanner now. The lap track. Oh, we got contact. The 54 and the 21 of Hendrick. Everybody's slowing up.
Fence. They continue to bounce. There they go. Hard into the outside wall goes Glenn Hendrick, and they'll pile in turn 4. That was a long yellow there, Andy. These guys, I mean, they were wrecking. We knew they were wrecking. We were just waiting for somebody to go all the way around. It eventually happened. But it all started. We talk about lap traffic and things getting tight. The 10 car on the outside of the racetrack. 54 may go down a little bit more than he was expecting because of that. And a little bit of contact, and we start bouncing off each other. A good piece of driving by a lot of those guys to hang on. The 48 of Josh Ball, elbows up, pushes his way through. Glenn Hendrick, who had just taken over the race lead, though, was not as fortunate as will actually go behind the wheel of that 48 machine. Take a look at the replay.
Oh, yeah, I'm just watching. I was watching a couple different angles of this replay, and even a lot of stuff going on in the back there, too. Some guys getting in each other after they were checking up. And wow, just some crazy things going on here. I don't know if a full moon's coming out tonight or whatever, but between the IROC race and the things we saw there and the interesting racing we saw, the guys retaliating after a wreck, and then the radio chatter that's going on after this one. Some pretty wild things going on in this race tonight.
And we are still well shy of halfway, so that's only going to get more fun as that goes on. We did just pass quarter distance here in Daytona. There is still plenty of action to come in the 500. And based on what we saw after what was the longest green flag run of the evening, I feel like pit stops are in order, and that's probably where these guys are going to be heading as soon as they can. The 94, Frank Pilia, ends up in front, though, through all of this, and most likely lead us down as he does so to get fuel and tires. There's a lot of guys down there, though, with some wounded race cars trying to get things fixed up.
Yeah, also making a decision whether they want to use their only reset or if they want to still try to hang on to that. And then for other guys, it's the problem if they have to get it fixed because they've already used their reset. So a lot of different things going on down there. 2 tires, fuel only. Things are getting a little chaotic down there on pit road. It's a pretty busy place, but we got to also remember, too, that how much these cars were wiggling through the corners, on entry, on exit, and, the changing lanes, all because they were just getting tight. You got to think that somebody that didn't take any tires, it would just be probably something that might cost them. It's still too early, I think, to make that gamble to force the issue with a tire strategy like that. I really think that take advantage of being under caution, get those 4 tires, get the fuel in that thing, and get back out there and try to do it again.
We talk about when it's go time and when you need to go, and I agree with you, Andy, because 4 tires now, and, maybe the difference is those 4 tires prevents you from pushing up a little bit more, as opposed to if you took 2 or no tires. could keep you out of an accident. And again, you never know. We always say, it's safe to be up front. Well, your leader just got taken out. That's the second accident in a row, actually, that involved cars inside of the top 5. But if it helps you out statistically a little bit, takes that risk down, I'd use it. Because go time is not until after lap 100. It's lap 39. Again, my goal right now would be to just get through it and survive. And right now, I know we don't say their names a whole lot because we're watching the excitement up front, but the guys that have been hanging out a couple of seconds off of this lead pack, I think, are the guys that are having a good night so far.
Well, they're the guys that are looking like heroes right now because they probably have that reset still in their back pocket that might come in handy in the second half of this race. But there's just these long endurance races are so tough because racing at a track like this, you think of it, you look at it on the screen, and you're just like, all right, that's pretty easy. Just hold your line, drive around, maybe make a little move to the top. It's really, these races are really taxing on you. Maybe not physically, but mentally. Trying to figure out what you're going to do. You're constantly in that car doing math in your head of, how many more laps do I have, and how much can I get on a fuel run, and how will this get me to the end? And you're constantly thinking, and I think a race like this, at a track like this, especially the longer endurance races as opposed to the short little sprints that we'll see coming up next week. But it's one of them things, just mentally trying to stay focused on what you have to do and to control the car. It's just, I think that takes a toll on you too. And, we're early on in this thing, so, the longer it goes, the more I think it's going to get even more difficult for these guys to take care of.
Yeah, it's like the point that we mentioned earlier is that we'll see endurance races on the season. We're not going to see a race again that's 124 laps. The season finale back here in Daytona in June, going to be the finale in Florida 400. That one is 100 laps. So again, tonight, significantly longer. The lights go back out on top of the pace car. Talking about schedule, though, we did mention that a couple of things are new for this Season 6 schedule. Let's preview some a little bit. To next week's event, going to be our first feature race on the season, which is the B main and the A main format. That one going to be taking place at Talladega. I'm looking forward to the 19th. It's going to be the debut of the cumulative format for this series, and that is 325 lap races, and you're going to get points for every single race, and whoever ends up after the 3 races, Andy, with the most points is declared the winner, and that's how the total finishing positions are determined. That's pretty sweet.
It is, and you know what I like a lot about the series is Rod and the series admins and race control. These guys, they're always trying to think of something different. This series is obviously limited to 3 racetracks that it goes to all season long. As Daytona, Talladega, and then of course the Circa 2007 Daytona with all the bumps. So the limitation as far as the tracks go is difficult to keep things fresh. But when you go and do things like that with these little 3, come on. How cool is that? Just these 3 little sprint races, and you gotta. It's gonna be a guy that finishes top 5 all 3 races that ends up winning that thing. So it's kind of neat because when you throw in a restrictor plate track like this, you got 41 cars in this race tonight. 41 guys all have an opportunity to come out of here with a win, a trophy, and a chance to go into the chase and the championship. It's just amazing. As green flag goes back in the air, and Frank Pilia going to lead him again across the stripe.
I was going to say, those cumulative races, they kind of remind me of the All-Star race format for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, kind of setting up for the final run, except that is your entire race. We look forward to that. The endurance races, though, in themselves always provide a little bit of their own challenge. And we're seeing it tonight at lap 41. We're back underway, and the 94, Frank Pilia, as you said, taking off on the inside of the racetrack. 3 drivers topside the challenge, coming from the 54 of William Roberts Jr. Not enough, though, to get clear. Christian Peterson going to stick the nose out to get some air. And yes, those are 6-man Motorsports teammates in Christian Peterson and Seth the Merchant. And those are the drivers that finished 1-2 in the Season 5 championship. And they're hooked up and inside the top 5, so you better watch out.
Yeah, we saw this probably this whole second half of the season. These 2 guys really just pushing each other to wins week after week and taking turns and doing a great job in the championship, and to get both of them into the top 3 for that final race last season. That was just pretty cool for those two guys to do. And of course, obviously coming with a brand new champion with Seth the Merchant. So just a really cool thing. But I like that 54 car there. William Roberts, like, it started 31st. I remember at one point he was in the 20s, maybe 18th place or so. Drove his way all the way up to 6th in a matter of about 5 laps. Now we see him leading that top side right now, and he's about to lead a lap right here.
He will, as he works the outside, and he has the nose at the front at the start and finish line, so put a bonus point in the back pocket of William Roberts Jr. This series has a somewhat custom and a somewhat point system that is based on the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series as well. If you win, you get 43 points. If you finish second, you get 42, so on and so forth. 3 bonus points still going to be dished out to the race winner, bumping up to a tally of 46 points earned. But again, the most important thing about winning is it puts you in that win column and bumps you up to the top of the championship for qualifying for the iSuper Chase. There's also a bonus point for leading a lap, so the 54 got one there, and another bonus point up for grabs for somebody who leads the most laps. So although guys aren't really looking at points now, it is just race number 3 on the year, the second points race, and it's the 500. Again, we already went over how guys just want to win this race to say that they've won the iSuperSpeedway 500. If you're up front like a guy like the 94 of Frank Wasilia, who I say a guy that's been up front all night, he started 36th, but he made that strategy call early, and he's been up here since then. That's the kind of guy that's in a spot to fight for that extra bonus point.
Yeah, but you're talking a former champion right there. I mean, that's he knows what to do. He's been doing it for years here in the iSuperSpeedway series, so he knows what he's doing. Week after week, you always see that 94 up here battling for contention, and no short. Obviously, that's another guy that we talked about the qualifying efforts week after week. He's always up towards the front, and then this unique style with qualifying based on how you finish in your duel set him back. He had to take that strategy of doing taking that strategy on a pit stop there to get himself up front, get him that track position. But like I said, once he gets it, he's got it, and he stays there. And right now sits second in line right now. William Roberts Jr. was able to clear him, get down to the bottom. But I think what that did was just open the floodgate for those target machines.
Yeah, and they look to the outside. They got a little bit squirrely, though, in turn number 3. And again, can't push into quarters, can't push in the tri-oval. You got to try to time it off at turn number 4. And just because you can't push into corners and the tri-oval doesn't mean these guys aren't going to. It's their job to push the limits of those rules that force race control and to shutting them down. But the 71 and the 32 are dynamic and dangerous duo nonetheless. But they can't make up headway on an inside lane that so far I've been very impressed with. Yes, the 54 of William Roberts Jr. made the pass on the outside, but the inside, for all the talk of the outside being such a great passing lane, and really when we're too wide early in these races, it's the only place to make passes in. The inside is holding their own, and I think it helps the fact that they have a lot of support. You wouldn't know it if you look at the top 5. There are still 13 drivers within a second of the leaders. They're just stringing out a little bit single file behind your top 6 or so that you're taking a look at with the side-by-side.
Yeah, you are. Bontempi actually lost a little bit of that draft right now as they go around the lap traffic. It's the 3 of Brandon Traberkel on the high side there, but Bontempi lost the draft with the target duo there up in the front. Now he's falling backwards here as Shane McKeechin decides to jump out up there. Look at William Roberts jump from the race lead, jumps out to the outside lane. That's going to cost him big time.
Now, can they get clear on the outside? Yes, sir. Again, a lot of the time, you'll see somebody jump up to the outside, Andy. People will go 3 wide, and what happens is right there, like that 28 machine to Shane McKeechin, not enough speed to get the pass. They'll jump out to a 3rd lane. They'll stall out. They'll lose time. That's not happening with the number 71 machine and the 32. Power move topside. Christian Peterson in front at the start-finish line. Take a bonus point, put it in the back pocket for the Target Energizer Battery Chevrolet. And that 32 machine is Seth the Merchant is not going to be anywhere off of that bumper. So we talked about Frank Basilia not being able to see a lot when he was looking at that 28. Well, that 32 is Seth the Merchant has been plastered on the back of the 71, and it looks like they want to take it easy or they want to swap. We'll see. The 32 drops to the inside. There's contact behind with lap traffic. The 33 machine trying to get through. I believe that was Larry Camp, top side, and he got hit from behind. Andy, we talked about guys not seeing anybody. The 38 machine of Jeff Figlin bumped drafted with the 83 Remote Evans. Didn't see him coming. Clipped him in the left rear. Nobody wrecks. We hang on. A couple of guys, though, do get some damage.
Yeah, that's exactly what we said. When you're so close to that guy in front of you, you can't see anything, and that's where you rely on your spotters or crew chiefs very much. Right there, just to let you know, just to give you a heads up that somebody's out there to hold that middle lane, and he just got plowed from behind. But everybody did a great job and stayed right with it right there as the battle for the lead's really heating up. Fusilia cleared Josh Ball, jumps down to the bottom, still leaves those two target machines up to the high side, but a little bit of contact maybe. It was close though anyway. It was set to with Christian Peterson in the 48 of Josh Ball there that last time by, and those two maybe rubbing a little bit of door right there, but this top group now starting to split away from the rest of the field here. It's only 10 cars, and it drops back almost a second and a half to that 11th spot.
And I saw the 71 try to get down in front of Josh Ball. He wasn't handing any of it. Let's take a look back for the battle for 11th. 1.8 seconds off of the lead draft right now, which is just 10 cars strong. Top side is the 51 of Jason Altmans. He's got the lucky colors on board in the Geek Squad Ford Fusion. Had an advantage into 3, but again, when you go in on the outside, you're going uphill. You're going up 33 degrees of bank and 4 stories into the air. You're losing time. When you're on the bottom, you're almost diving it down into the corner. You're using those 33 degrees to your advantage. That's why that 7 machine Rodney Wofford ended up in front. Now off the corner, the advantage switches again on the outside. Is going to get a big push off the corner, which is why when we talk about the bump draft, timing the push off the corner for the outside is so important because that's your best shot at getting a run. These guys, though, are side by side, and as they battle, they continue to lose time from our leaders, who are mostly single file, with the exception of the 32, the 71, and the 28, who work that outside lane still.
Yeah, that group of 5 there, that second pack there, they really need to get single filed and to make this work to get back.
Caution flag gonna fly behind your leaders. The number 77, Justin Anderson, hard into the inside wall. And we were just taking a look near this battle with that 51 of Jason Altmans. And I talked about the difference between pushing up a little bit. Well, the 77, tight off the corner, came up in front of the 51. He got hooked hard into the outside wall. And then as they all slid down to the inside, Anderson, the 98 Grey Cooks, they both ended up in the inside wall. Caution flag triggered automatically by the sim at a yellow flag just past lap 50.
Yep, 1/3 of the way through this thing, and we're back under caution again. And I really think, Evan, a lot of it's concentration and being focused and mentally prepared for a long race like this that causes those cautions like that, and just just something simple, just something, looking at something different or something catches your eye differently, and you look at it, and then by that point your focus is gone and you make contact with somebody. So it's tough. It really is. I think mentally, just to be prepared and be focused for the whole entire thing. As pit road's open and the leaders heading back down there, the target machines, they're 1-2 sitting there coming down pit road first.
So they're going to lead us down. Question is, do they take the 4 tires? Do they take 2 or none and try to gain some track position rather than maintain track position, because they do come down running first and second? Seth the Merchant into his pit stall as he qualified in the number 7 spot. So he heads down to pit stall number 7. Right side's on. Kruger to go over to the left side tires on as well. But an abundance of strategy. Seth the Merchant going to be about 6th off of pit road, because it looks like Matt Quick, Josh Hanner, Ray Rittenauer, and Frank Basilia going to beat him off of the pit lane, and they will go to the lead. Brandon Chaburko will stay out to get a wave by Rod Flag stays out, takes over the race lead for the time being at lap 53. We're just shy of the halfway point by 10 laps, and when we do cross over and take lap number 62, we'll make sure to give you your iRacing.com midway race leaderboard. So in the meantime, we'll step away again and go LSRTV nonstop, and we'll return from Daytona for the iSuperSpeedway 500 on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Grab your share of the over $1,200 purse in the Laura Lawson Domino's TYJ Daytona Speedweeks now through February 20th, 2016. We are raising money to help Laura battle cancer. 100% of all donations go directly to Laura's GoFundMe medical fund. All 43 drivers in the Laura Lawson Domino's TYJ Daytona 300 get paid. Mark your calendar. The 6 Race Your Way In qualifying races to be held the next 3 weekends, January 29th and 30th, February 5th and 6th, and February 12th and 13th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Password required. Are you the fastest and best at Daytona? Prove it as LSRTV broadcasts live the Daytona 300 Saturday, February 20th, 2016. Register and donate at Domino'sTYJRacing.com. Look for the green ribbon. $5 minimum donation required. Thank you for your help.
Dropping 81, yo, I dropped the 88. Ricky Bobby.
And we're back live in Daytona. Rod Flag took over the race lead. He stayed out for the pit lane. He comes down, gets service, lights off of the pace car. We cycle back through, and we talked about the possibility of strategy. Well, Frank Basilia, the number 94 McDonald's Ford Fusion, came down after running inside of the top 5. And when he came down to the pit lane, down into his stall, 2 tires only. He puts him in the race lead. Seth DeBerch and Christian Peterson, they take the 4-tire call. They're 2nd and 3rd.
The rate he's going, too bad he wasn't running that McFlurry for you. But...
yeah, I'd have an excuse to. I mean, if he does win in the McDonald's machine, I can go to McDonald's and get a McFlurry. But it is not the dark blue machine. It is the McDonald's Ford, and he is in control for the restart. The pace car ducks down and away. Lap 55 to the record books. Green flag back at the end.
Pretty good start by both sides right there. Look at them all cramped up. Nice That's a real nice restart right there by all those guys. That's going to keep it even all the way through turns 1 and 2. So no separation. That was a real good restart. I liked it. Both sides, top and bottom, did a great job with that. And it's going to be a pretty good battle off turn number 2. The advantage, though, is going to go to that top side. Seth the Merchant. He's got Casey Malone giving him a big push. We haven't talked much about him. He finds himself up in the top 5 now, battling for that second spot.
And Casey Malone started this race in 10th, so kind of fell back quietly, but bringing it back to him just shy of the halfway point. He's digging on the outside of the track, and he's got the 48 machine of Josh Ball working with him, but I have to think that 2 drivers may not be enough to mount a real charge against everybody else inside the top 10 who works on the bottom. There is help in sight, though. Look at Ramon Evans back in the pack. The number 83 machine did not have a season 5 that he would like to remember, and he's looking to get things turned around here tonight. He's being aggressive, going to the outside. It'll be a while, though, before he gets to the 52 and the 48. They are slotting back, with it just being 2 of them, and the inside now opening up an advantage of 2 car lengths.
Yeah, they'll open up a little bit. Ramon Evans, just to keep up with him a little bit, drops down to that inside lane, knowing he had no help right there. So 2 cars just on that outside. Josh Ball, Casey Malone trying to make it happen, trying a little side draft action there through the corners. Oh, it looks like Josh Ball and McKeechin actually made some contact there on the exit of turn number 4 there, but a little bit of contact, not too much, no real damage it looks like to those cars.
All part of the race, things getting physical at 200 miles an hour, and we talk about speed on the old model and the old draft model, the old setup that these guys are running. We were seeing speeds at times over 210 miles an hour. We've kind of brought it back into the wheelhouse. You're going at about 198 most of the time towards the tail end of the straightaways. It's still no speed that you want to be beating and banging at. You want to leave that kind of stuff for the thirds that end up City Racing League, the short tracks, because out here, not the smartest idea. When has it ever stopped them, though? You see the 32 with the 71, they're trying to orchestrate something to get together. DeMerchant jumps out to the outside, and the 71 machine does also. So the 32 giving up the secure spot on the inside to pick up his teammate and try to make the 71 come with him the second.
Yeah, they'll try, and they'll probably get it here off of turn number 2 right now. They're able to time it just right. They probably the 2 of the best guys at doing this. And talking about the timing, getting off of turn number 2 to get the run like they got right there. Now they find both of themselves now clear to Frank Pilia. They'll both drop down in turn number 3. They take the race lead, and they leave Shane McKeechin all by himself out there. A little bit of help coming. It's going to take a second for him now as he falls back to that 5th spot.
Chain on the door, the 54 to William Roberts Jr., who we haven't talked about in a little bit, but has been in the conversation since about lap 30. Started 31st, got up here quickly. Kind of the same scenario that Frank Pilia finds himself in it again. Shane McKeechin knows what he's doing. The 52 of Casey Malone has showed a lot of promise in the couple of seasons that we've seen him now, and looking to build upon that to go forward. But 2 cars, it doesn't matter if it's even Seth DeMerchant and Christian Peterson. Well, they may make it look close. 2 cars cannot pass everybody on the bottom. It worked in IROC because those COTs are much different, and only having 12 cars total on the track is a whole different ball game. But you need support. And interestingly enough, Andy, you commented on the restart that everybody looked pretty uniform compared to some of the more interesting restarts we've seen tonight. Well, the restart that gives everybody the least separation is the one that spreads us out the quickest. We have not seen the top 10 fanned out this much all race.
No, we haven't. They've always been side by side, battling for the position there. And now Shane McKeechin and William Roberts are going to drop down in line. So that's going to put everybody single file all the way back to Casey Malone, who finds himself on the outside lane all by himself. But it's pretty interesting. But I'm not surprised. This point of the race, we're approaching that halfway point there. Everybody just really, I think, just trying to calm down. I think the pre-race jitters and nerves are out of them at this point. I think now it's all down to business. Nobody's really thinking, I think, now at this point about making a mistake. It's more of just, okay, we're doing good. Everybody's riding. Everybody's calm. It's almost like the calm before the storm, maybe the eye of the storm right now for these guys. And we know things will heat up as the laps still continue to kick off.
Yeah, we talk about nerves and all of that. Maybe not in the first 5 laps, but once you get a couple of laps in, it's business as usual. Again, if you're new to LSRTV or if you're new to this Friday night series, The iSuperSpeedway Racing Series is exactly what it sounds like. It is a super speedway series. We run Daytona, Talladega, and Daytona 07. So you can't look at plate track races as a race that you have to get through. You have to learn how to manipulate these races. You have to know how to make these things go in your favor. And with that being said, once you get out there onto the track and it's business as usual, you're not that nervous anymore. You just start to do your thing. A couple of incidents have kind of helped us weed out a couple of cars, but with only 5 drivers off the lead lap at halfway, I'd say the opening half to the iSuperSpeedway 500 has been quite successful. Your race leader is going to work around the 3 and the 41. Brandon Chaburko and Ryan Pilia to get a fall 1 lap down. And as we cross our halfway point in tonight's race, it's now time for the iRacing.com Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing, the leader in motorsport simulations and the official sim racing partner of NASCAR. We'll take a look at the full field at lap 63. Seth the Merchant is leading in front of teammate Christian Peterson in second. Frank Pilia, the third, runs in third. And behind him, Josh Ball right now in the 4th spot. Rounding out the top 5 is Shaden McEachin. Sean Bounty running in the number 6 spot. 7th right now, David Anderson. Jared Haggerty in 8th. And 9th is William Roberts Jr. And Ronnie Wofford swept Daytona Speedweeks back in Season 5. Looking to get to victory lane is in 10th.
11th on the track right now is the one of Chris Passini. Derek Walker in the 20s runs 12th. 13th is Todd Granger. Corey Henry is 14th. 15th is Casey Malone. The 16th spot is Ramon Evans. Luis Calderon is 17th. 18th is Matt Bontempi. Jeff Figlin sits 19th. And 20th is the 89 of Matt Quick.
21st is Ryan Keese. Dana Osborne, 22nd. Paul Servant, 23rd. 24th, Dwayne Cooper. Jason Oatman's 25th. Dwayne Cooper now going to drop to 26th. 27th, Josh Hanner. Stafford Lessentine, 28th. 29th, Daniel Ferguson. Kent Connolly in 30th.
31st right now is Rod Flagg. Ray Rittenauer's 32nd. 33rd, last car on the lead lap right now is the 35 of Brandon Monsalves. 34th, one lap down is Dan Harrington. Brandon Chaburko also a lap down since 35th. 36 is Ryan Pilia. Larry Camp is 7 laps down in that 33 car. He's actually making 8 now as the field races its way by him. Chad King in the number 9 is 38, 13 laps down. Greg Hooks, James Pileski round out the field who started this race tonight, 39th to 40th.
And of those names, 30 are within still 5 seconds of your leaders. So while we did claim we spread things out a little bit, it is more spread out than before. We're really not all that far away. And the 94 of Frank Pilia to the offensive. He goes to the outside of the racetrack. The top 6 or 7 were the ones that were single file, with a couple of guys on the outside lane a few rows back. But now we're right back in the thick of things. The 94, the 48 lead the outside charge, and they have the supporting cast they need. Look out, the 48, the 28. Close call off of turn number 4. I think we get away contact-free, but another heart stopper.
That's the second time those two did that off of turn number 4. As we see the big winner and all that's probably the 34 of Sean Bounty. He's able to catch up to the 48 of Josh Ball. Not quite maybe here in turn number 1 and 2. He's got a lot of help right behind him though. Wofford, he's going to stay to the high side, leave those target guys there on the bottom all by themselves now as the 48 powers the 94 of Frank Pilia to the lead into 3.
And he will drop down and take over the race lead. And now the 54 into the outside wall. William Roberts Jr. 3 wide in turn 3. Up the middle goes Chris Passini. They squeeze on through, and they're able to make it through, but a close call there. The handling is not improving on tonight. If anything, it's getting worse, and that's why you want to kind of get in front and camp out before it all starts to run away.
Yeah, absolutely, and it doesn't take much like that with William Roberts getting into that outside wall there, and he's going to shuffle back a little bit of right side damage, not too much that'll affect him a little bit, but he'll drop in behind Casey Malone there back in the, I don't know, about the 15th spot there now, but the top side is definitely dwindled now. It's down to 2 cars, 48 of Josh Ball, leading that pack right now. Bounty right behind him in the 34. They're losing ground now. Bounty was in the top 6. Gonna fall now. Ooh, it's Josh Ball now able to find some room. Bounty nowhere to go, stuck on the outside all by himself.
And there goes the 34 backwards. And then the teammates teaming up once again. And we just talked about how hard Frank Pilia had to work to get back to the race lead. Seth DeBerch and Christian Peterson step at a line and like an orchestra very smoothly take the spot back. And it's now DeMerchant P1, Peterson to P2 again. The 7 Rodney Wofford tried to hop on as a caboose. It did not work. And now he goes where Sean Bounty just did, and that's backwards.
Yeah, that's... I'm telling you, those two, they got to split those two up. Oh, did Shane McEachin purposely make that mistake and go up higher? Maybe he bobbled there in turn number 3, but he moves to that high side, and it looks like Peterson now, he's going to come with the help of Pilia. He's going to take over that race lead right now, but the 32 going to jump out of line there. Now it looks like the 71 trying to decide if he's going to go to the high side or not. He does right now. Lap traffic ahead of these guys, though. This might get a little squirrely.
They'll go 3 wide, the 87, the 35 top side, and when you get to the backstretch, it makes things a lot wider. They're going to be able to get on through at least the lead pack. Battles back on by. Pilia, though, back to the race lead. Peterson and DeBerch back on the offensive. Top side, not enough of a run straight up to pass them right away. They'll stay up there. They'll fight for a little bit. Do want to apologize about the minor technical issues. Reset the ticker up top side, and you should be able to take a look through the field as this race continues to go on by. Again, the lead lap still 31 cars deep. The excitement, for the most part, amongst the guys that are battling. There is a large pack that I do want to mention, 18th on back, if we can take a look at. They're led by Matt Bontempi. That is 6 seconds away. It's Bontempi, Figlet, Ryan, Hedrick, Quick, Cooper, Keys, Hanner, Lessentine, as well as Servant, Ferguson, and Connolly. These are the guys that are taking it easy. Again, we're probably still 30-some-odd laps from go time because it's lap 71 of 124, 3 laps shy of 50 laps to go in Daytona. And the longest green flag run of the night now currently in the works. And an 94 machine of Frank Pilia. Think he got the upper hand in this. I said 2 cars can't do the outside by themselves. Maybe I was prejudging the 71 and the 32 because they're pretty good out there. They haven't got a big run, though, to do anything, though.
No, they have. But you know what? If anybody, a two-car tandem that can make that outside work by themselves, it would definitely have to be those guys. The experience of them being able to side draft with the cars on the inside lane, and plus the ability of how good they are, be able to come off turn number 2 stuck to each other's bumper like they do and like they have over the course of this race and other races we've seen them in as they work their way around some more lap traffic. Looks like it was Rod Flag right there that they just went around and put him a lap down there. He's running all by himself there in that 31st position. So definitely not the start that Rod Flag wanted for the season opener, but for him, there's always, listen, week after week, they get the opportunity to win a race, get in the chase. So one race isn't going to end the season.
And by the way, the 71 and the 32, they did get to the top spots once again. Dropping Frank Pilia back to 3rd. Josh Ball in 4th. Shane McEachin in 5th. And for one of the first times in quite some time, everybody inside of the top 10 are single file. Can't promise that's going to last long. The 94 tight off the quarter. And that 48 of Josh Ball with a special LSRTV paint scheme on board his Chevy this evening. We also saw it in the duel last week. Up the inside, and that punches open to the inside in the floodgates. And here comes a 28. He's through and clear. Here comes a 19 to David Anderson. A quiet night for Anderson, 35th to 6th. He'll get to a top 5 spot if he can clear that 94. A great run for that 19 Steel Dealer Chevrolet.
That's a great run. It's right now, and he's doing a great job on that bottom side, just maintaining a top 5 run right now. And I think Frank Pilia is still struggling on the outside all by himself, but you're starting to see these cars right behind him there, the 52, 54, and 15. That's Malone and Roberts, and the 15 of Todd Granger right there entering turn number 3. You see them all just kind of drift way up the track. These tires are definitely getting worn on these guys. The handling's definitely starting to go. It's getting close to time to get down to pit road and obviously try to make this thing at least a one more stop race here before everything is all said and done. That's probably what it's going to end up being. after they make this round of stops. But everybody looks like having a little bit of handling issues now as the cars are really starting to wiggle.
And that might be one of the reasons why they're not forcing the 2 wide as well, because they know it's a little bit squirrely out there. We're close to pit stops. Keep it single file. Keep it under control. And just get through the stint. Again, in these long races, we talk about the difficulty focusing and, staying up and alert on the wheel. The best thing you can do is every time you go by, count down 30 laps till I need to get fuel, 29 laps till I need to get fuel, and you can set those objectives for yourselves. I don't think, though, we're yet at a one-stop race. I feel like you'd have to make it to lap 85 if you do want to make it on no more stops, and you want that to be your final swing of service. So we're within 10 laps of getting to that point. I don't know the exact number. I can promise you, though, that it is going to be fairly tight on fuel. All of this assuming that we stay green.
Well, the way the field's spread out right now, having everybody running single file basically all throughout the field, I wouldn't be surprised if it does stay green for a while right now. And of course, when it stays green and you get the green flag pit stops, that's where the mistakes start to happen. That's where the field gets even split up even more. So we'll have to keep an eye on these guys as they get ready to prepare to make those stops. And getting on pit road, being able to slow down from 180 miles an hour down to the 55 that it takes to get onto pit road. And that's a tough order, tough call, especially on the flat racetrack, especially on cold brakes, because they don't use the brakes at all here on this racetrack. So I love them. I love the green flag stops here. I love how it just puts the pressure on the drivers to be mistake-free.
And we always see when you come down in those groups, green flag pit stops can be one of the more treacherous times. You have to communicate. The 71 and the 32, you're good together, but if you pit just you two and everybody else comes down pit road and they do so and they do it smoothly, you're going to be at a big disadvantage. You need to find friends. I know we were talking about not a whole lot of guys getting the nerve to ask fellow drivers to the dance because they weren't being friendly early. Well, tonight, and especially now, inside of the final 50 laps in Daytona, now you got to build up that courage and you got to start talking with people. Get to people that you know on the radio and say, hey, listen, we're going to be coming down pit road. You get to come down with us. We're hearing some radio chatter that pit stops may begin this time by the top 15 single file in turns 3 and 4. Who's going to dive down to the pit lane? Nobody inside the top 15 for now. They'll stay out.
Just a matter of time, though, because the 22, Stephanie Lestine came down along with the 24, Ryan Keefe, so they all came down. They're coming on the track right now. You can see them on the apron. There's the field rumbles by right now. The 23 Haggerty, I think, is coming down this next time, so it's definitely starting to heat up. We're working lap number 79 right now. About to complete it in about a half a lap. So, this is probably one more stop here after this one here. I don't think they can make it to the end.
Yeah, we'd be looking at 44 laps, and I know that a lot of the A-main races are about 40, and guys like to pit during those races to get some insurance. So your leader's going to come off the floor again. One driver coming in from inside of the top couple of running spots, which we talk about you needing some help on the pit lane. Not the best to be in by yourself. It is Jared Haggerty. He is down. Louis Calderon, Dana Osborne as well. Join him.
Yeah, that's a lonely feeling, especially when you come back out on the racetrack when you're by yourself, because you're going to be about 10 miles an hour slower at least from these guys, these leaders that are drafting. So makes you for a sitting duck. It makes it for a long race there when you can't get in the pack, get the draft, and stay up towards the front. So we'll keep an eye on that. But pit road's definitely going to get busy this time. It looks like a bunch of the leaders are going to be heading down.
The top two stay out. Behind him, Josh Ball. Gonna bring it down. The 7, a little bit hot coming in. And I think he slowed it down in time. Now he got the cone behind him. The number 19 machine hit the cone and took it out. And now on pit road, Casey Malone, the 52. He'll get damage coming in. It was that 19 machine who got a speeding penalty or something, Andy. Came to a dead stop. And the 54 and the 52 got into the back of him. I'm not sure why he stopped. I think he overshot the entry, and then he passed his pit box, and as opposed to going through again, he tried to stop and then cut right across the track, hoping that the other guys would go around him. and that did not work at all, and a couple of guys get the short end of the straw there.
Yeah, they do. That's definitely, like I said, the mistakes on pit road. That's what can cost you a race, and we saw it right there. Obviously, just a lapse of judgment, maybe, by the driver not being able to spot his pit box, and it's going to cost some guys some positions, cost them some damage. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm watching a little group that was running in the top that just came back out onto the racetrack. One of them being Rodney Wofford there. The tail end of this, right in front of him, Sean Bounty, and there's a couple other cars that just came out along with them.
Wofford's the guy that I thought was speeding because he was coming in hot. He actually slowed it down in time. I got to give props to him. I think he passed 2 guys coming down, not on purpose. I don't think he meant to come in that hard. But Rodney Wofford definitely gets the better end of all of that because although it might have been a little bit close for comfort, he does end up in front of most of the guys he pitted with.
Yeah, and you know what it is too is when you're coming in like that, everybody's got a different style of coming down pit road and waiting until the last second to really get on the brakes. Then you got guys that'll brake a little earlier. That's why when you see these green flag pit stops and a bunch of cars coming in, you see them fan out because they don't want to be, in front of somebody and over brake and have that guy run into them, and like what we saw. And it's really treacherous, and it's really it takes a lot to get this going. But look at this pack right now. I'm watching right now the 34 is Sean Bounty leading him. He just went by the 71, the 28, and the 32 right there. Those guys were the leaders, so they had a head of steam right there, and they came out and they just flat out flew right by those guys. So we'll have to keep an eye on that group right there, led by the 34 Sean Bounty, and see where they all end up as things shake out.
So now we see again, where does everybody end up once we all cycle back out? Well, they're chasing, as you mentioned, Josh Ball. The 94 is pushing, and it's the 48 in front. Ball came down pit road and took 2 tires. So we talked about the strategy. Actually, he came down, took 4 tires, got back out. So 4 tires, the winning call on the pit lane for getting in front. Here's momentum, though. The 7 and the 1, but not fast enough to just blow by him. So they'll stay in line on the inside of the racetrack, and at lap 83, cross it over to take lap 84. The top 5 are Josh Ball, Frank Pilia, Rodney Wofford, Chris Pasidi, and Sean Bounty, the 34, continuing to hang in strong. I mentioned, I think it was about lap 20 or so, Andy, that only 2 of the top 10 runners had started inside of the top 10 at that point. Well, those guys starting to pick it back up. 4 of them started top 10, and a couple of single-digit starters just outside the top 10. Want to throw the names out. Orion Keese and Stephanie Lessentine started 1st and 4th, respectively, 13th and 14th, respectively, on the track right now. Starting to get to the point where it's time to get up on the wheel.
Yeah, and they're in a huge pack of cars right now, too, so they got a lot of help as far as the draft is concerned, and that could help them catching up to the lead pack right now. But that lead pack doing a pretty good job, for the most part, staying single files. So you see that Christian Peterson, Seth the Merchant, and Shane McKeechan actually caught those top 5 guys, so they've got themselves back into it. Like Jason Altman's is, oh, not Altman's. I'm looking at the wrong paint scheme right there. The 57.
A lot of new colors. It's throwing me off.
Yeah, I know. It's just, plus everybody, a lot of guys changed numbers this season too. So you got
new teams, new numbers, new manufacturers.
Keeps us on our toes. That's all.
Yeah. Make sure that we're paying attention to the
At least they don't do
it
every race. That would be a lot worse.
Well, some of the guys change up the colors a lot. And again, for those tuning in and you take a look at the standings, well, you could match the number on the ticker to the number on the car. A little bit easier to kind of track everybody. Oh, the 32 having some connection problems. Seth the Merchant blinked out there for a moment. It's a part of sim race, and it was a close call. Luckily, there was a pretty big gap behind him, and I think the 32, it was just a small blip. It hasn't been a recurring theme tonight. I do know that at one point, Rodney Wofford was having some connection problems. We also mentioned at the start of the race the connection issues for Gray Cooks that disconnected him from the sim and has basically put him in lock for a 40th place result here tonight. It's a part of sim racing. Seth the Merchant would hate to start his title defense with a race that would be hindered by connection problems, but it looks like nothing major coming from that.
No, nothing yet. And I'm still watching these guys back here. Or up in the front there. The two guys on the outside there, Wofford and Piscini, doing a real good job just by themselves, able to battle for this. And I really think that the draft or the side draft has been helping them, and they're doing a really good job with it. And the only other two guys that we've really seen make that side draft work so far was the 71 and the 32. And I'll tell you what, to be able to do that and have the confidence in the drivers around you to be able to be that close through the corners, that's just amazing.
The outside charge coming up. They're not afraid to get side by side. It is elbows up, and we're still on board with the number 1 Pennzoil entry of Chris Piscini, and you can see what he's doing. He's working behind the 7, trying to stay as square to the bumper as he can. And every once in a while, he'll stick a nose out. He'll try to get some air. Important to keep peeking at a line, Andy, to know where some lap traffic is. If he steps at a line down the backstretch, he can see that not all that far in front of them, we're going to catch up to Josh Hanner, who is 26th position, and after getting separated from help during the cycle of green flag pit stops, will lose his lead lap status. It's important to peek out a lot, not unfrequently, because if you peek your nose out once every couple of laps, you might do it at the wrong time. If you're constantly looking out, not only that, but as well to get some clean air to the nose of that car, you could be aware of what's going on around you. And as we mentioned a couple of times, when you're pushing somebody, you don't see a whole lot, so it's important to be aware. Those guys that have actual spotters, actual crew chiefs spectating the sim for them, that can be a big help as well, as Pilia ducks to the inside, takes over the race lead just in the nick of time as lap traffic made it 3 wide. So those guys are the guys that have a small advantage over everybody else, but a lot of communicating going on between drivers, especially guys within teams, trying to let them know what's going on where on track, especially now, because those guys that have been hanging back are going to try to get up here.
Yeah, they're going to try to get up, but I think they're flat out. I mean, we still got 35 laps to go here, but when you're that far back, especially the guys back in Paul Servant, Derek Walker, 20-something seconds back, and they're not even hooked up to each other's bumper, so they got, I guess, basically some tough luck on that one. Excuse me, but I look at these guys around 11 seconds back that led by Tad Granger there in the 11th spot there, and they were doing very well with the when they were single file, and they were actually making some ground up, but they're really struggling here after that pit stop to really do anything to try to get back up to them. And I really think the time's running out for these guys. 35 laps is a lot of time, but it's still just, I think at these speeds and the amount that they can actually close in per lap, I just don't think there's enough time for them to do it without a caution.
And we do know that as the intensity goes up, the possibility of getting a caution flag obviously goes up again. But again, that's the risk of hanging back, is you're out of the fray early, but if this thing breaks out in green flag like it has since about the halfway point, if you don't get another caution, you fall back, like we said, 11, 12 seconds for guys 11th and 12th back, conveniently enough. You're not going to make up 10 seconds on the lead pack. There might be more of you, but you're not enough to make up 12 seconds. So they are hoping for a caution, but they don't want to be the caution. This time by, lap 91 goes to the books. We start lap number 92 at Daytona of 124, 3 laps away from 30 laps to go. Getting down to crunch time for the world center of racing at a 94 machine who took over the race lead. Didn't get to enjoy it for long. Everybody else inside of that immediate lead draft, the top 6, well, 4 of them went to the outside. The push for Rodney Watford from the 71 of Christian Peterson. He is clear to the bottom, and he'll take over the race lead at 92.
Yeah, and he makes a bold move right down in front of Frank Musilia. That's going to leave that top side. Those 3 cars have been working well here the second half of the race. Christian Peterson leading that little train right now. Shane McKeechin, and he's pretty much been the cream filling of the Oreo for the last probably 10 laps or so, sitting in between those 2 Target Chevrolets. And that's a pretty good spot, I think, to be in right there. You got 2 pretty heavy hitters there when it comes to super speedway racing there on the outside. They're sandwiching in right now. They're going to go single file, though, off of turn number 2. So top 6 single file, still trying to pull away. That gap is still continuing to increase for those guys back in the outside the top 10.
And again, they have more drivers, so we talked about strength in numbers, and that's more so geared to two cars not as fast as 6 or 7. 6 or 7 cars could be just as fast as, 10 or 12. So the guys back there, again, are at a big disadvantage unless something huge happens with this lead pack. Even if we do have to come back down the pit lane, even if you have a big mistake on pit road, a speeding penalty, that's only a 15-second penalty. You're only going to get around 1 or 2 guys, so they really are in a tricky spot, and they need a yellow. Right now, they're single file. We've seen this before, where they run single file now because they're trying to cooperate. We get to lap 115, and you're still 12 seconds back. They're not going to be single file anymore because they know that they're not going to catch anybody, and for the most part, nobody behind them is going to catch them. They're going to start racing it out amongst themselves, but for the moment, things are calm. 11th through 20th is that next 9-car pack outside of the top 10. The top 10 themselves single file. The 7 and the 94 were able to hold off the charge from the outside after Wofford got clear. He got the push from Christian Peterson, who has since jumped in line 4th. That second pack, though, is trying to get to these guys, however, they're still well behind. 3 wide through the tri-oval. Meanwhile, the 19 on the bottom. David Anderson, lap traffic, 2 laps down. Going to separate that pack a little bit. They have to scatter to make it through.
Yeah, they do have to scatter. That's what makes it so difficult, I think, coming up on these lap cars is just the closing rate and speed. You don't realize it till you're there, and then it's like literally a hold your breath moment there just to make sure you're able to that they hold their line, so you're able to get by him. Now, it's Josh Ball now is going to fall back. Looks like maybe a planned maneuver there. Jumps out into the middle, and he's going to drop back now. I'm not sure who he's going back to help out, but kind of an interesting move for that 48.
Jared Haggerty letting everybody know he needs a new fire suit after that one. He was running in 8th spot, and he'll still hold the inside lane, but it was a close call nonetheless as that 48 machine got eaten alive. And just like that, Josh Ball going to go from 3rd to back. Look at the push on the outside, though. The target teammates not necessarily hooked up together, but they ride 1 and 3, and it's Shane McKeechin in the middle, sandwiched between them, and that 7 Rodney Wofford goes from 1st to 4th as that 3-car tandem on the outside of the racetrack makes the move. They got the run off of 2, used the super stretch and got clear, and now at lap number 97 it is Wofford, Basilia dropping back. It goes Peterson, McKeechin into Merchant, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, like I said, those 3 have been working very well together in the second half of this race right now, and they're looking poised to be that little group that is going to be tough to get around. If there is anybody that can do it, it's that duo that's just behind them. The seasoned veterans, we'll call them right there, Rodney Wofford and Frank Basilia. If anybody can catch them and pass those 2, it'd be them guys, as long as they can get hooked up together.
Yeah, that's the key. And now you're going to start to see, we talked about the 72 and the 32 working together. We have seen a couple of other team sets working very well tonight. It's just always easy to see the 71 and 32. They have those identical paint schemes on. But there are other teams in the works here working together. Soon you're going to have to give up on those teammates. We were talking earlier about the Dark Horse Motorsports guys had 1, 2, and 3 drivers lined up on the outside, running 2nd, 4th, and 6th, I believe, at the start. And that's something that you wanted to hang on to as long as you could. Now at the end, you're not going to be backing off and dropping back 4 spots to pick up a teammate. You're going with whoever is there. And that's why this 28 of Shane McKeechin is in a good spot, because he has the 71 and the 32 separated. He knows if he can split them apart, take one of them, that would be good for him because they're not together. And plus, they know a thing or two about these plate tracks, so them working together would not be a bad combination either. However, nobody jumping out quite yet. Next time by, going to be lap number 100 from Daytona. And we single file things out again inside of the top 7. Kind of an accordion effect. We go side by side for a couple of laps, and then we single file things back out. Only side by side in this lead draft is with the number 17 machine, who is a lap traffic car. Matt Bontempi 3 laps down, and you can see that our leaders are taking it easy and lifted it because the 17 driving by him like they're standing still, but a close call. He'll have to back off as he catches the 33.
Yeah, it looked like he caught Larry Camp there in the 33, just kind of at the wrong spot right there. He's able to get back in line, though. A little bit, I think, of the tires going down, or not going down, but the tire wear becoming a factor here through the corners. But look at that run that Bontempi has now on the outside. He might have a little bit of help from Hanner, but both those guys obviously mired back a few laps right now, and a much needed caution for those guys to maybe try to get the free pass, get back on the lead lap. But they got to stay where they are right now, just in case that does happen. They'll be able to take advantage of the wave around. But it looks like at some point here, that top group right now, they're all single file, and like you said, the amount of time that they're going to have to, it's just they're running out of laps basically. You're getting down to the crunch time, the go zone right now, like we talked about it. 24 to go right now as they cross the stripe. So it's at that point now. If you're in this lead group, you got to now start trying to think your strategy to get yourself to the front and to the lead.
Yeah, your strategy has gotten you through 100 laps now in Daytona, 24 laps to go, and now you got to do something with that strategy. If your strategy didn't work and you're 13 seconds back, you're SOL. You're not making up that time. It's a 10-car race in front of the field, and it's led by Christian Peterson. 100 down, just 24 to go. From the World Center of Racing, Christian Peterson leads, and there's still a lot of questions. Do we have to come back down to the pit lane? We are not good on fuel. Here they come for service. 3 drivers from the lead pack coming down. Louis Calderon, Jared Haggerty, and Josh Hanner all coming down for service.
Yeah, and they're all teammates, too, coming down to get it done. So, obviously, communication, working together, making sure that none of them get separated, and they're able to come back out on track to make up the time that needed when they're together in the draft. So smart move, even though a couple of them were lapped down, they decided to pit with their lead lap teammate there, so they're able to come down. They'll be able to help him out as they come back out on the track.
Problem somewhere on track, trying to find a number of the 52 machine. Involved in an accident, it's the 52 car of Casey Malone. He's racked down the back straightaway, and that's 2 drivers that have come to a complete stop. He got hooked down the back stretch by the 51 of Jason Altman's, hooked him into the fence, and then the 52 came back down the track, took the 31, Dwayne Cooper out. A 2-car accident. Nobody went all the way around, so the sim does not automatically trigger the yellow. And because it was just 2 cars, it is not warranting a yellow to be thrown by race control. So we stay green. We talked about things getting out of control late. We're starting to see it. Look in front of your leaders. Christian Peterson, he's pedaling, but that's a blocked racetrack.
Yeah, it's a blocked racetrack, and those guys are battle for position. Nobody's really in position now. They're going to split them down 3 wide through the middle. That top 3 guys right there. What a fantastic move. A great job to avoid all that mayhem that was right in front of them. And they're actually going to separate themselves now from that 4th spot there. Now they're going to have about 4 or 5 cars in between them, all lap cars.
They siphoned their way through. They went through the middle and then dunked to the bottom for the second group of those lap machines, and as you mentioned, it worked. They're going to get some time on Frank Pilia, Rodney Wofford and company, the 71, the 28, and the 32. 1, 2, and 3 on track right now. You see the 17 with them. Do have to mention again, that is a lap machine. Those guys that they passed are coming down pit road. Final time tonight. Frank Pilia is down. Josh Ball is down. So is Sean Boundy, getting fuel to go to the finish.
Yep, making their last stop. And the question, obviously, at this point, with this amount of laps left, the call probably is just a fuel-only run here to give them the advantage to come back out on track ahead of everybody. So once everything cycles through, we'll see what happens as they go down. It looks like for the 34, he's going to take left side tires only. So maybe it was a right side tire only the last stop. He's going to go with left sides this time. So the 34, 2 tires and down, and doesn't look like he's got much help. The 2 guys that came down with him are quite a distance right now. That's Josh Ball and Frank Pilia. They might have just taken fuel only.
I saw that. I think Pilia and Ball, they both go with right side tires, which I think is a good timing mechanism for them, because they didn't sit down there. They're not running with a full fuel cell right now because they didn't want to give away an extra 3-4 seconds. Come down, take 2 tires. When the jack gets dropped, you go. And they know that they're going to have enough fuel, not too much, to weigh him down or to kill any unnecessary time, but they have just enough fuel to make it 20 laps to the finish. So now you see how long a pit stop takes. Sean Bounty came down with those guys. Look at the 34. Goodbye. He gets the driver's side door blown off by the lead pack, who have yet to come down and get service. It's almost a lap between when you come down to the pit lane to when you get back out there and you get up to speed. So now, as two cars together, Josh Ball and Frank Pilia have to work good together in turns 1 and 2. Wait for Christian Peterson and everybody else inside of that top 5 pack to come down, and then hope that they have the momentum in their favor. But it looks like there is still a little bit of a variance on fuel. They didn't run them dry that last time. They elected to come down pit road together. When do we see the rest?
Well, we can see the rest as early as this time by here, but they might be just stretching it to the point where they can just drop in, a small amount of fuel and spend even less time on pit road. So for Frank Pilia and Josh Ball right now, it's pretty much just they got to stick to each other's bumper. They can't make any evasive moves. It's going to just kill.
Oh, it's getting squirrely up there, too. I was just whispering that the lap traffic, the 17, the 57, the 10, they're not giving their leaders any room. I mean, they're racing them hard, and our leaders kind of backed off of it a little bit. There was a close call that time by, and you see on the apron a slow car. So while it looks like a big lead pack, there's only 3 of those guys that are on the lead lap, and it's the 71, the 28, and the 32 who went out behind some lap cars.
It looks like, though, that top group's going to come down to pit road now, so they got those lap machines in front of them right now. They're not going to make that evasive moves to get by them. They're just going to sit there. They're going to come down pit road now. So those 3 guys decide to come down together. Obviously, they've been working together very well. Shane McKeechin going to lead them actually onto the pit lane first and outbreaks those guys going down into pit road. So service for your leaders now on lap number 108 as we're closing in on the end of this.
Yeah, 28. I mean, he was digging onto the pit lane, and he had an early pit stall, too. And stall 37, digging so hard off the pit lane, he's spinning the back tires, kicking that 28 sideways. He'll win the race off of the pit lane against Christian Peterson, and he'll as well beat Seth the Merchant off of the pit lane. Don't get too far in front, though. That 7-1 of Christian Peterson, I think, is going to back off and go with the Merchant. Or, if he speeds up and gets with that 28, Seth could be in risk of dropping off because he's a little bit behind him.
Yeah, he's a little bit behind, obviously. A little bit slip up of a pit stop there. So I really think that the 71 will slow up to catch, or to let him catch up, back up. It looks like Shane McKeechin actually going to slow up just a little bit as they get back on the racetrack now. So their service done. They're going to try to figure. Wow, look at these guys come up through the field now.
Goodbye.
Josh
Not
Ball
even close.
And Pilia. Whew.
And they took off on the outside. You can see the speed difference. It worked for them. The 94 and the 48 to the point at lap 109. And now the pit stops at
directly to Laura's GoFundMe medical fund. All 43 drivers in the Laura Lawson Domino's TYJ Daytona 300 get paid. Mark your calendar. The 6 Race Your Way In qualifying races to be held the next 3 weekends, January 29th and 30th, February 5th and 6th, and February 12th and 13th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Password required. Are you the fastest and best at Daytona? Prove it as LSRTV broadcasts live the Daytona 300 Saturday, February 20th, 2016. Register and donate at Domino'sTYJRacing.com. Look for the green ribbon. $5 minimum donation required. Thank you for your help.
Dropping 81, yo, I dropped the 88. Ricky Bobby, shaking back.
And we're back live at Daytona. As you see, we're working under the caution flag. Caution at lap 112. And we work at lap 114. And we're back under the yellow flag with Frank Pilia in the lead. Do to apologize for the minor technical difficulty there. This is now going to get a lot more fun. We talked about strategy, Andy, and for the guys that were sitting 12 seconds back, I said you can forget your strategy. It doesn't mean anything now. Well, the previous 114 laps don't mean anything now because this is a brand new race and it's a crapshoot. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's about to go down, and this is for the biggest trophy, the biggest win on the season, and we have a caution inside of the final 15.
Yes, we do, Evan. And, man, this is, like you said, the guys that were back there 12 seconds back, they get a second chance, basically, to come at it. Guys like Frank Pilia and Josh Ball, they didn't want this. They had such a comfortable lead. The target duo, if you want to call them, Peterson and DeMerchant, they get a second chance at this one now. So it's all out the window. Strategy, all that gameplay, all that stuff you did before, just throw it right out the window because now it's on the driver's hands to get it done.
And I think the best part about this is we've been talking all night about guys trying to get the best handling race car. When do you want the best handling race car? Now. When does nobody take tires? Now. Everybody's staying out because they want that track position, which means that nobody's going to be lifting, and they're going to be sliding all over the place. I can't promise you we get green to the end. Again, we're within sight of the final 10 laps. The yellow in the final 5 would end this race under the caution flag. There are no green, white checkers. If we get a quick caution before 6 laps to go, we could still get one final restart, but based on the statistics, I don't think the numbers of a green flag finish are that good, but these guys have put on some shows. This iSuperSpeedway 500 has brought us photo finishes to the start-finish line in the past. We could be in store for a treat.
Absolutely, we could be, and you mix all these guys back up with everything on the line, the win, the chase spot, the prestige of winning the 500, basically the season opener. I mean, it's all on the line. You're going to see some guys make some bold moves at this point right now, and it might cause some guys some headaches or even get themselves put out of the race here in the late going. So, I mean, it's just part of the nature. It's part of coming to a racetrack like this, a super speedways, where anything can happen, and basically anything does happen every time we watch these. And last lap pass is constantly to the line, finishes within hundreds of thousands of seconds of each other. I mean, it's amazing, and it's all going to get set up right now as the lights go out on the pace car.
If you're just joining us, you picked a hell of a time to tune in. The pace car is going to duck down, going to leave us at lap 117 of 124. There are going to be 8 laps to go in Daytona Beach to determine the winner of the 6th annual iSuperSpeedway 500. Season 6 got underway just 2 weeks ago on LSRTV with the iSuper Shootout. Rod Flag took home the win in one of the only non-points paying events on the season. At the iSuper Duels last Friday, dishing out points for the first time and also dishing out wins. Justin Anderson, Ryan Keese won their respective duels. They're at the top of the championship standings, but tonight is the official start. It's the race that everybody marks on their calendars as the one that they want to win. And as we pace into turns 3 and 4 for what could be the final time behind the pace car, we'll be left with 8 laps to go in Daytona. It is Frank Pilia leading, Josh Ball in second, Shane McEachin, Christian Peterson, and Seth the Merchant through 5th, and then Jared Haggerty, Louis Calderon, Sean Boundy, Ryan Keese, Glenn Hedrick in 10th, and a total of 22 drivers on the lead lap. You can buckle up for what could be one final time. Pace car down, green flag in Daytona.
It's going to be interesting if we don't get another caution, I'll tell you that right now. But great jump on the bottom side. Frank Pilia able to get the job done right there on that restart. The bottom lane, wow, check it up big time right there as Peterson drops to the bottom to get behind his teammate there of Seth the Merchant. So that's going to bottleneck that bottom side up. Gives a little bit of an advantage to the top side, but they were still unable to get a pretty good restart. You got Haggerty pushing Josh Ball. Now they're going for the lead with McEachin.
Look at the 48 car. Wow.
Wow.
From the third lane to the bottom, but it won't get him the race lead. It will. He'll power to the inside on Shane McEachin, who can't quite get clear. And now the 48 machine got a push from behind by the 71. Somehow Josh Ball ends up leading the inside. Could it be all for nothing? No, Shane McEachin clear on the outside of the racetrack. He won't drop down yet, though. He stays up in the middle groove and now ducks down to block in turn number 1, the 28 to the point.
Yeah, he knew that 48 was coming on that bottom side. He decided to drop down and slow that momentum. Here comes Seth the Merchant now on the outside. Oh, and Sean Bounty has some trouble just past the bag. He's going to drop as the race for the lead still continues to heat up. Pilia wondering if he's going to go for a third lane now in the front, or up in the front. Not going to happen. Josh Ball now. Oh, he almost gets pinched in the middle there. Drops down in front of Peterson. What a battle we got off turn 4.
And that's Peterson trying to make a third lane on the bottom, and the 48 not giving it to him. It's Seth the Merchant leading the outside charge. He needs more help, though. He's just got the 94 of Frank Pilia on the bumper. Anybody else going to jump up topside and try to make that a legitimate fight for the race lead? 2 drivers right now not cutting it. Shane McEachin lucky to get down in front of Josh Ball. Ball to the inside. The 28 shuts the door again. And a lot of guys sliding up high that time at a turn number 2. This time by going to be lap 110 and 5 to go.
Yeah, it's going to be 5 laps to go here. Lap 120 when they cross the start-finish line. We'll be working on that lap. Top side, though. Here they come off turn number 4. Power move. Here they come. Seth the Merchant now with Frank Pilia. They got the 12 of Corey Henry. We haven't talked about him all night long. Now he's up here at the end.
Got him. 32, top side. Give the assist that I said they just needed maybe one more driver. Well, Corey Henry, the AMD Chevy, provides that extra oomph for the outside, and Seth the Merchant takes over the race lead at lap 120. Look at some of the other names coming into the conversation. Glenn Hedrick, Jared Haggerty, Louis Calderon, some of the names that are squeaking their way inside of the top 10 and the top 5. Side by side, though, 3 rows deep in front. DeMerchant leads to the 28 and the 48 down low, at an 94, the 12, and the 71 top side. 4 laps to go. A caution ends this race from here on out, and it's Pilia at the stripe.
Pilia with the advantage on the outside. Only 2 cars really doing it, getting it done on the outside. Corey Henry, I don't know if he's been... I don't know if he's been saving his stuff all race long or what, but he just came out of nowhere here at the end of this race. Drops down to the bottom, leaves Frank Pilia all by himself now. The bottom side with a huge advantage now as Christian Peterson decides to go up there and help him out.
We'll knock another one off, this time by down to 3 laps to go. The 94 got left. Peterson picked him up. And to the inside, look at the 28. Opens up the door. The 12 goes to the bottom. But maybe that's what Shane McEachin wanted, because now he leads the outside charge. And he's got the 94 and the 71 behind. And now Pilia drops to the inside in front of Josh Ball.
Yeah, he drops to the inside. Gets a huge run right up to the bumper. They're going to stall out, though. Seth the Merchant going to lead this thing by 3 car lengths on that outside lane now. Shane McEachin all by himself out there with Christian Peterson. They have no help. The bottom side with the momentum now. 3 cars now able to separate themselves from the pack. Look at Corey Henry giving the push of a lifetime right now into 3.
Popsicle sticks in the air as we head to turn number 3. They're going to take 2 laps to go, and that close to the finish. DeBurchett in front has no intentions of making things easy for his teammate in the 71, the 48, the 28. They touch off the corner. Corey Henry to the outside. The 32 tries to throw the block, can't do it. And the push for Corey Henry. Can he get there on the outside from 40th on the grid? Not clear, though, to turn 1.
No, he wasn't able to clear him right now. That's going to give the bottom side the ability to fight back right now. The problem is Josh Ball's off the bumper of the 32. That's going to stall out that bottom line. Here goes the top side, Corey Henry. He's got him clear now. He's trying to bring Frank Pilia with him. Not going to happen. Henry going to drop down to the bottom in turn number 3.
He'll take the white flag this time by, and if they do, it's a race to the finish regardless. There's contact behind. The 48, the 28 will go 3 wide. Look at Peterson to the inside. White flag will fly.
White flag, final time into turn number 1. Corey Henry leading the whole field right now all the way around this racetrack. Frank Pilia on the outside trying to get it done. He's got Shane McEachin, Rodney Wofford. He's got Casey Malone and Ryan Pilot now on the top side, trying to get that top side to run. Here goes to the outside. Henry goes for the block.
Not there. The 12 slid up. The 32 tried to go to the bottom, and it was the 48 who shut the door. 3 wide into turn number 3. The 12 and the 48 on the bottom. 32, 71 in the middle, and Pilia and McEachin up against the fence high side. Final time off of turn number 4. They'll touch it, a big rip behind him. Final time to the start-finish line. Seth the Merchant, one final push. It's not going to be enough. From the back to the front, Corey Henry wins the iSuperSpeedway 500 from 40th on the grid.
Unbelievable. Didn't see him, talk about him all race long until the end. He starts 40th. Unbelievable right there. Just flat. Didn't even run a practice lap here tonight when they came in here. Felt he had a good car. Starts 40th after a horrible qualifying in the duels. Comes out and wins the 500. What an awesome race for the 12.
And that's going to be a nice piece of hardware that Corey Henry's going to be walking away with. Again, the battle for second is what you would have expected for the lead. They were beating and banging, and the 32 had a run. Just like on the backstretch, though, Seth the Merchant could not cross to the bottom because that 48 was there. He went to the top side. His teammate did everything he could, but it is the 12 of Corey Henry. And I said before that final restart, the rest of your strategy doesn't matter anymore. Maybe so, because Corey Henry earned that victory in those final 8 laps at Daytona. But 40th to 1st, dead last on the grid tonight to get the win. Pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive is an understatement, I think.
I
honestly.
couldn't do it, I'll tell you that much.
Listen, we didn't. I do not remember saying his name one time all race long.
The grid, I think. The grid, and then the final 5 laps. He flew under the radar and then took it from these guys. He beat the guys that he beat were the guys that we were talking about all night long.
Yeah, I flat out. I guess if you want to call it, he saved his stuff to the end and was able to get the job done. And just an amazing run right there for Corey Henry, and a great way to start the season. And hey, listen, he punched his chicken into the chase there, Evan.
He does. He gets the W, and he will get that spot in the iSuper Chase, assuming he can keep up the points. And although one win does not promise you one of the 10 spots in 15 races it's a pretty good start for Corey Henry, and he will punch his ticket. And for those that are longtime fans of iSuperSpeedway, you get the reference there. He'll park it in a Daytona front stretch grass, a winner of the iSuperSpeedway 500. And it'll be a fun post-race reaction from him. We'll talk to your top finishers in Daytona Beach and send you off because we get back to our regular season coverage once again next Friday night. But in the meantime, we'll step away one final time. Encourage you to stick around because the wrap-up from Daytona and the LSRTV post-race show is next on iRacing Live.
Grab your share of the over $1,200 purse in the Laura Lawson Domino's TYJ Daytona Speedweeks now through February 20th, 2016. We are raising money to help Laura battle cancer. 100% of all donations go directly to Laura's GoFundMe medical fund. All 43 drivers in the Laura Lawson Domino's TYJ Daytona 300 get paid. Mark your calendar. The 6 Race Your Way In qualifying races to be held the next 3 weekends, January 29th and 30th, February 5th and 6th, and February 12th and 13th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Password required. Are you the fastest and best at Daytona? Prove it as LSRTV broadcasts live the Daytona 300 Saturday, February 20th, 2016. Register and donate at Domino'sTYJRacing.com. Look for the green ribbon. $5 minimum donation required. Thank you for your help.
Dropping 81, yo, I dropped the 88. Ricky Bobby, shaking back.
We're back live at the Daytona International Speedway for the post-race show, the iSuperSpeedway 500. The Daytona 500 of this Friday night series is in the books, and what a win for Corey Henry. Dead last on the grid to the top spot at the end of it all, and they're getting ready for the victory lane celebration, so we'll be with him in a moment. In the meantime, cut up pit side with tonight's third-place finisher behind the wheel, the number 48 Chevrolet, Josh Ball, on the podium this afternoon in Daytona. Josh, congratulations to you. A solid finish for the LSRTV Chevy. I know that there were a lot of people pulling for you as well live at a broadcast. You get a podium, which all things considered, in that wild melee at the end, you got to feel pretty good about. But you were competitive all night long, and I know you would have liked the win to be able to get, obviously, the win in the 500, but as well the hardware. But a P3 is a good start to your season.
Yeah, we brought back the same car we had at the season finale there, and it just a little bit different, felt a little different tonight, a little bit longer of a race, obviously, and it wasn't as fast. It was pretty up there, and it was up there all night. I just couldn't, when I got out by myself, it wasn't as fast as I wanted it to be. But yeah, LSR TV Cobalt Chevy was on doing pretty good tonight. Definitely had some battles for sure, side by side. I tell you what, if it looked like it was hard driving out there, we were pushing, that's for sure. We were definitely pushing the whole race. So after about 5 laps, it was a lift fest. So
And I will say that it was funny because we were talking about at the end, obviously everybody wanted track position. So the one time that you guys didn't come down and get tires is the time that you guys were going to be absolutely on it. That caution comes out inside of 15 to go. What are you thinking?
I was pretty upset actually because me and Frank did a little pit strategy and we were working together and we had got in with some lap cars and we thought we were actually pulling away from third, fourth, and fifth. So if it would have stayed green, it would have came down to one of us, and fortunately that didn't happen. But we still finished third tonight, so that's pretty good. We last season we walked away the end of the season right before the championship, the chase. Points leader for the last couple of weeks. So, good solid finish third for tonight. So hopefully we'll get a W the rest of the season. If not, we'll just be consistent. And hopefully get it on points.
You're one of the veterans of this series, obviously being the Season 4 champion, and the Season 6 schedule looking pretty sprucey because we got the endurance race that's out of the way now, the longest one of the season, gets us kicked off. We'll get to our feature format next week, but the cumulative format coming up in 2 weeks' time, where you guys will have 3 25-lap races back here in Daytona under the lights, and then the most points accumulated or the best finishing average amongst those 3 races actually gets you the W. What are you thinking about this 2016 calendar and how that might play into your strategy and the way you drive?
Well, we just got to go out there and we got to win. That's the biggest thing. Just got to win, and then be conservative the rest of the season. Stay top 30 in points. We've done the cumulative format before back on Super Speedway Cup, as you know, Evan, with ETV Live. So
The good old days back then.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember.
Oh yeah, and it definitely was fun back then. So we'll see how it is, and I think we'll be able. It's going to be different for guys, definitely different. But we're going to try to next week. We're going to announce that we're going to introduce the 48 Lowe's Chevrolet Silverado, and we're going to run Darlington for the first time. So we'll be in the truck series for one race this year, just as a charity event. So next week we'll be in that, and then get ready for, I think it's Daytona again or Talladega. I'm not sure really.
And definitely, well, Josh, thanks for sticking around and chatting with us here post-race in Daytona. It's a good start to the season for you, and again, I know that you wanted the win, but a P3 is nothing to hang your head about, and it's going to give you a good standing in the points because you mentioned the points were a big thing that you guys succeeded at last season, and you're getting off to a good start. Before we let you go, sponsors and shout-outs, who makes it happen?
Yeah, I just want to thank Lowe's, Cobalt, LSRTV, Evan Pasoko, yourself this week for painting the scheme that's on the car. So thank you for that. All the teammates out there, good friends, Frank, all those guys. But again, thanks to Evan for painting that paint scheme, and we'll try to put it in victory lane here shortly.
Well, I'll tell you what, it finished up a lot higher than if I was behind the wheel of it, sir. Congratulations on the top 3 tonight, Josh. Best of luck next Friday night as well in the trucks, and we look forward to talking with you soon.
Thanks, Evan.
So that is tonight's third-place finisher, Josh Ball. Going to pass things up one spot that he was short by just 0.02 of a second. Seth the Merchant comes home bridesmaid tonight, Andy.
Yeah, I'm just I'm gonna skip the introduction there for our defending champ. But Seth, how fun was that?
That was probably the most fun race I think I've ever had in this league. There had to be like a dozen times there on that white flag. I thought we were gonna wreck, and tried to take it away from Corey there at the end. We almost got him at the line. We got a big shot off from Christian coming off 4 and just almost got him. But gotta say congrats to Corey. This is a big win, probably one of the biggest you can get in the league, and I really wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, if this was Talladega, we probably would be speaking to you in victory lane because the start-finish line's a little further down, and I think that run would have carried you there. But, man, I'll tell you what, we look back about halfway through this race, you and Christian caught up with Shane McKeechin there, and the 3 of you just seemed to click very well. I mean, was that the plan going into this, or was that just something that kind of fell on your guys' lap?
Yeah, that was the plan all along. Coming into the season, we picked Shane up as a new teammate. So us 3, we planned to work together throughout the whole race. And that caution wouldn't have came out, that last caution we had wouldn't have come out, I think we would have won that race because we ran the leaders down by about a second a lap until that caution came out. And we worked really good all race, man. Just seemed to work good, just the way we all drive and everything.
Yeah, of course, you guys at the Target Machines had him pinched in the middle there and sandwiched up for probably about 30 or 40 laps right there, but it worked out great. You guys worked great together as a team. So we're looking forward to that, obviously, as the weeks to come with you guys getting it done like that. That'll be something to see. We thought it was a potent tandem last year with you and Peterson, but now there's three of you. So it's going to be even more fun to watch here this season. But I'll tell you what, you talked about Corey there for a second. I couldn't even remember. I think Evan and myself were talking during a commercial that I think the only time we mentioned his name all race was at the starting grid, and I don't know where he came from or what he did. I know we'll talk to him here in a second, but man, he just came through the field out of nowhere. All of a sudden at the end, he was right there in the middle of it.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that after the race. I don't know where he came from. I'm thinking that he maybe took 4 tires and had fresher tires than this, and he just drove through the field like a rocket. Because I don't know, he must have been I don't know. He had to be more than 2 or 3 rows behind us on that restart because I didn't see him on my relative. And then all of a sudden, coming to 2 laps to go, here he is just flying by me on the outside. So
Yeah, and I'm sure all of you were looking at, who is that guy? Where'd he come from? But man, it was an awesome finish and a great way to start the season. Obviously, with the biggest race in this for the season, right there with the 500, and probably one of the ones that everybody wanted to put their name on. And you fell a little bit short here, but obviously, I'm sure there's some sponsors and shout outs you want to give out there for a great start to the season. Anyway.
just need to thank P Money Designs for painting all our cars. Dan McKeechin and Christian Peterson, my teammates, Six Men Inc. You guys for broadcasting and Rod for putting on the league.
Well, we appreciate it. We look for a lot of good things to come as you defend your title this season.
Thanks, man.
There you have it. Second place finisher here tonight. Looking for the win. Came up a little bit short, but I'm pretty sure, Evan, you caught up with a very happy driver. It's been a long time coming for Corey.
No complaints from the driver of the number 12. We're caught up in Daytona Victory Lane. Corey Henry, the winner of the Season 6 iSuperSpeedway 500. Corey, you didn't make it easy on yourself. You had to pass 39 drivers from 40th to 1st, but you get the job done, and you're the winner of the biggest race on the calendar by far, sir. How's it feel?
Feels pretty good. You have to excuse me. I've been battling a cold for the past 3 days. I didn't even know I was going to run this thing. And luckily, everything just worked out perfectly, and we got the number 12 AMD Chevy up to the front.
You talk about a push at passing 39 drivers. Well, we talked a lot about guys around you. Seth the Merchant, Josh Ball for a lot of the night. You, though, hanging back, and you came flying up through the field. What was the strategy called there late, and then how did you blast onto the scene there at the end to steal this one?
Well, all the way throughout the race, I wanted to get to the front, but we just kept getting caught up in accidents and having damage to repair. And eventually, I took the reset on that final green flag pit stop, and it just took off from. I got a really big break on that last caution. I think with about 7 to go, we restarted in 12th, and the strategy from there was just pick a lane and take the holes where you can get them and get to the front as fast as I can.
And I think it's good there that at the end, how you had to pass a lot of guys to get the job done, and it kind of solidifies the entire night for you, going from the back to the front. Starting that deep in the pack, looking at 124 laps, what was the game plan starting this one off, and did you feel like you executed it like you wanted to, or were there a couple of times you just kind of had to roll with the punches?
I think it was just rolling with the punches. I wanted to get up there to the front and battle for the lead as much as I could, and things just didn't work out that way. We'd get up. I think I got up to about 20th after about 20 to 30 laps, and then just kind of stalled off from there. Got caught up in the second pack, third pack, and just rode around there all night until that final caution. We got a really big break there.
So now you're a winner of the iSuperSpeedway 500. Most importantly, this win puts you to the top of the chase grid in the championship standings. Obviously, the iSuper Chase, the ultimate goal for everybody. A good start to the season. How do you build upon this win and keep this up for the next 14 races or so until we get to that chase cutoff? And that way you could be in a spot to battle for a title.
Yeah, we just got to finish consistently up front. I think I can do it. Last year we had an up and down season. I started off the 500, finishing back in the 30th positions, somewhere in there, 30, 31, 32. So it's a big difference already locking myself into the chase. I remember last year, 2 weeks until cutoff time, I overslept and missed a race, and it eventually cost me a spot in the chase. So it feels pretty good to have that weight off my shoulders. Now I just got to worry about being top 30 in points.
Well, I will say that it was a well-deserved and a hard-earned victory for you tonight. Well, we got you down here in Victory Lane. Sponsors and shout-outs to people behind the scenes. Who do you want to give a call to?
I want to give a big shout-out to everybody at Dark Horse Inc. We all worked well together, pit under green, and got out close to the front. A few of us had a few bad things go, but luckily I was able to bring a win home for the team. I want to give a shout out to AMD for the sponsor, DX Racer. Hopefully they're going to give me a seat soon. We'll see about that. After this win, they might. And I want to give a shout out to everybody at LSR and Laura Lawson. We're all here for you. I want to give a big shout out to Rod for putting on the league. And we're going to go into next week and hopefully bring home another W.
I will tell you, Corey, I got one of the DXers myself. If you get it, it's going to be a lot of fun driving in the sim, and it was a lot of fun watching you tonight. Again, congratulations. We're happy for you. You put on a show. You didn't make it easy on yourself. Back to the front. You get it by 2/100ths of a second, but you're going to be the one walking away with the hardware. You are the iSuperSpeedway 500 champion. So again, congratulations. Best of luck. We'll see you when we go right back at it next Friday night, and hopefully for you, you guys can keep up this momentum, and we see you guys have a great year.
All right. Thank you, Evan. See you next week.
That is Corey Henry. He goes on to round 4 next Friday night right here on LSRTV. But Andy, the key thing is he's not a winner of the iSuperSpeedway 500. One of the few races you can say that he's the champion of. Biggest race on the year. Biggest performance that we've seen out of him. Again, 40th to 1st. He passed a quarter of the field in the final 5 laps. There's not much more you can say. And by the way, I'm surprised that these guys held it together for that long at the end to get us a green flag finish, and they put on a hell of a show. The top 10 drivers finished within 0.4 of a second of each other.
Listen, we had one little wreck there. I think Wofford got into it there, coming off turn 4 there to the finish. But I just... Listen, these guys are awesome. They do it week in and week out. And, I mean, if you turned around and saw this in an official race, they would have wrecked every 4 laps. So, I mean, listen, these guys know how to get it done on the plate tracks. We know they have it in them to do that, to finish under the green flag like that. And I know at the end it gets crazy. Everyone trying to battle for that every position, for the win. But there's only so much room for so many cars up at the front. So it makes it tough. And sometimes you got to be that guy that's maybe pushing that guy to the win and just realize, hey, listen, I got to settle for the 2nd or 3rd spot and just make it out of here alive. And you know what? And I think a lot of guys can do that and can live with that, And for a guy like Corey Henry to come from 12th to 1st in that final restart with 7 or 6 to go, whatever it was. And that's just awesome driving right there. And you know what? Listen, he picked the right lanes at the right time at the end there, and he made it happen. He drove to that. That wasn't handed to him, and hats off to him. That was just a fantastic finish to a great start of the season. It's going to be good. If the rest of the season's anything like this race, Evan, we're in for a treat.
Yeah, the duels were fun, and from what I saw as well, the shootout was fun, but a good start to the Season 6 campaign, and again, we're going to have plenty more of these endurance events. We're going to have the feature races, and as well the new cumulative races, which debut in 2 weeks' time at Talladega. We look forward to that, but that does bring the iSuperSpeedway 500 to a close. So until next time, on behalf of everybody at LSRTV and on behalf of the broadcast team tonight, for Andy Kessler and producer Cisco Scaramuza, my name is Evan Pasoko, congratulating Corey Henry as tonight's champion. of the iSuperSpeedway 500. Good night from Daytona International Speedway. We'll see you next time right here on the home of sim racing. Till next Friday, this has been a presentation of iSuperSpeedway.com Racing on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
For what I've seen.